A mysterious carriage, pulled by four freaky glowing-eyed horses, barrels through a desolate city. Trailing behind it is a much larger prison wagon escorted by a couple of armed guards. Inside that wagon, a blonde woman sits among other captives, looking surprisingly calm for a prisoner. A memory flashes back of a white-haired woman telling a boy, Changzi, to live on alone. And that memory fuels our boy's rage, his eyes practically glowing with pure, unfiltered fury. So there he is, single-handedly stopping the entire convoy, demanding they release his sister. His sister, the blonde woman, is shocked he actually showed up, a mix of joy and terror on her face. Of course, the guards' immediate response is to aim their rifles right at her head, standard procedure. In a panic, she grabs the bars, screaming for them to stop whatever they are planning to do. She pleads with a cloaked man standing nearby, reminding him he promised not to hurt her brother. This masked guy just scoffs, telling her he knows, as if her plea is a minor inconvenience. Meanwhile, Changzi is going full shonen hero, vowing he will not let them take her even if he dies. This masked swordsman leaps down from the carriage, ready to meet this kid's charge head-on. And it is not even a fight, the guy effortlessly deflects the attack and sends our boy flying. He stands over the defeated kid, delivering the classic villain speech about how weaklings cannot protect anyone. All our boy can do is kneel in the dirt, completely powerless and seething with frustration. From the cage, his sister screams his name, begging him not to be so reckless. Then the swordsman tosses down an awakening stone, revealing the gut punch. His sister traded herself for this. To add insult to injury, he says even with a power-up, a waste like him is still a waste. Changzi just stares at the stone, the weight of his sister's sacrifice absolutely crushing him. His hand reaches out from the dirt, desperately trying to stop the wagon taking his sister away. And just like that, I jolts awake, screaming her name from the same recurring nightmare. Because for 3 long years, this exact memory has been his personal hell on repeat. That masked swordsman's silhouette is a constant, burning reminder of his own powerlessness. And to have any chance of finding his sister, he knows he has to get stronger. Suddenly, his front door gets kicked in because the plot demands more misery, apparently. A smarmy administrator and his 2 hired goons are here to collect his supply tickets, but our boy stands his ground, insisting he has already paid this month's protection. I mean management fee. This purple-haired creep just smiles, ordering his thugs to tear the place apart anyway. So they immediately grab Changzi to make sure he does not get any heroic ideas. A little while later, he is on the floor, bruised but looking absolutely furious. As his visitors leave with the tickets they wanted, mocking him for taking a beating over nothing. He gets back up though, spitting that he knows what they were really looking for, knowing their constant harassment is not just about some measly supply coupons. From under his shirt, he pulls out the one thing he has been desperately protecting. This awakening stone, which he was apparently hiding in his mouth, that is dedication. It drops to the floor, confirming this little rock was their actual target all along. And for the past 3 years, he has been obsessively researching these very stones. Yet despite all that effort, he has found 0 leads on where they took his sister. Staring at the stone, he realizes his only clue is the man who gave it to him. So he is staring at this stone, the one thing that connects him to that masked swordsman. These stones grant special attributes to anyone over 16 with different power levels, and whatever power you get, it is a total game changer for your future. This bottom line is, awakening is the only path to real strength in this world, which is why his sister gave up everything for this expensive rock, his one shot at finding her. And today just happens to be his 16th birthday, time to make a wish and cash in this ticket. With his goal set, he activates the stone and the system immediately kicks into gear. A glowing book appears, granting him a totally unique attribute that lets him gain more attributes. He is understandably thrilled, realizing he is the only person in the world with this power. Thinking back to those thugs, he realizes their boss only has 1 attribute, while he can get 8. This only problem is he has no idea how to level up, so he decides to ask a friend for help. We get a look at his settlement, a bleak place where everyone struggles just to grow food, where the administrator's goons oversee the harvest, taking most of it as a tribute, which is a nice word for theft. This tribute is non-negotiable, so a bad harvest means people literally starve to death. And speaking of people not starving, here is a guy enjoying some mysterious purple liquid. This is Liu Zi, Changzi's friend, who is putting on a whole young master act with his fancy wine. Apparently he is Changzi's best friend, but has recently become obsessed with some imported novel, bless his heart. Changzi cuts to the chase, asking if he is awakened, and his friend acts all shocked he's been found out. Our boy is clearly not in the mood for games, bluntly asking how you are supposed to level up. So his friend finally drops the act, explaining you have to enter dungeons and kill monsters to get stronger. Liu Zi explains the fine print: dungeons drain your life force and are run by gatekeeping powerhouses. And on top of that, you have to hand over any loot you find, a total scam. Changzi processes this, realizing these places are even more dangerous than the mutated world outside. His friend sums it up as a suicide mission where the one survivor wishes they were dead too. Their depressing chat is suddenly interrupted by that purple-haired goon who has some good news. So Liu Zi, ever the actor, plays along, asking what wonderful news Brother Zhao has for him. Changzi knows exactly who this is, the administrator's top lackey, and good news is not in his vocabulary. This offer is simple. Since Liu Zi has awakened, the boss is mercifully letting him enter their dungeon for free. Of course, the catch is that every single thing he finds inside now belongs to them. What a generous deal. Liu Zia is stunned, questioning the whole "give us all your stuff" clause in this terrible contract. Immediately, Changzi steps up, calling out their scam and saying the resources will just line their own pockets. This goon just scoffs, mocking our unawakened boy for even thinking he could start a fight. His friend quickly pulls him back, telling him to cool it because it is just a scavenging run. Liu Zia puts on a brave face, promising he is extraordinary and will definitely make it back alive, trust him. He then tries to play peacemaker with the thugs, saying he will go get those resources for the settlement right now. Watching his friend get led away, Changzi knows he cannot let this happen even if it means exposing his new power. With no money for other dungeons, he realizes this death trap is his only chance to get stronger anyway. So he steps forward, declaring that if they are sending his friend in to die, he is going too. This sudden heroic outburst catches both his friend and the lead goon completely off guard, and the purple-haired creep just laughs, asking what makes an unawakened nobody think he is even qualified to enter. Changzi drops the bomb that he is also awakened, which is probably not the news this guy wanted to hear. With that, they are marched off to a swirling blue portal, a level 1-dimensional dungeon, how quaint, and waiting for them is a welcoming party of thugs who greet them as the new mules. This purple-haired creep presents them like livestock, calling them the domesticated ones for the group. One of the bigger goons immediately laughs, saying they are too scrawny to even be useful pack animals. Furious, Changzi quietly promises his friend he is going to punch that guy 100 times if they survive. His friend, of course, plays along with his whole young master bit, agreeing to the proposal with a flourish. This little display of backbone just annoys the guards, who cannot believe their new mules are talking back. Their leader cuts them off, telling them to stop running their mouths and get into the death trap already. As they head in, Liu Zia tries for a heartfelt bro moment, which Changzi immediately shuts down. This goons just stand there and watch as the two disappear into the swirling vortex. Alone now, the lead thug takes a drag from his cigarette, admitting the kid is good at hiding things. He then reveals the big secret. That was the awakening stone his company has been hunting for 3 years. His underlings immediately start sweating, worried Changzi will come back for revenge after all their abuse. But their boss just scoffs at their fears, reminding them the kid has to actually survive first. Then he drops his own power reveal. He is also awakened with a gold tier attribute, so he is not scared at all. Meanwhile, inside the dungeon, our boys find themselves in a seriously creepy dark forest. Liu Zia starts the orientation by cheerfully explaining that his uncle called these places projections of hell. He adds that the place literally sucks the life out of you over time until you just drop dead. Taking this in, Changzi pivots to the only upside: killing monsters in here is how they will finally level up. Just as they are getting their bearings, a blood-curdling scream rips through the forest. Liu Zia calmly explains that dungeons have multiple entrances, so they are not alone in this hellscape. This scam finally clicks for Changzi. The goons use them as free labor to compete with other groups for loot. In their eyes, newly awakened people are nothing more than expendable tools for plunder. His friend then does a last-minute sanity check, asking if Changzi is really sure about this death wish. Reminding him that this is not some training exercise, people actually die in here. Changzi is all in though, knowing this gamble is his only shot at ever being strong enough to fight back. Liu Zia seems surprised he is aiming so high, questioning if he really wants to take on the top administrators. Our boy points out that literally everyone in the settlement has been exploited and would love to see them fall. With a grin, Liu Zia drops the act, admitting he knew Changzi had that fire in him all along. He then drops a bombshell. His dad and uncle are secretly building an army to overthrow the whole system. Changzi is stunned, especially hearing that he is part of this secret rebellion. To explain why, Liu Zia brings up the painful memory of his grandmother dying from wounds inflicted by the administrator's thugs. A flashback shows her suffering, and he reveals that watching her die was the catalyst for his family's plan. So he makes a pact, declaring that from now on they are not just friends. They are comrades in arms, ready to fight together, which is the most anime thing ever. Changzi accepts, admitting he has his own reasons. He needs the power to find his sister. His friend agrees everyone has their own goals, his being to marry some girl after the revolution, a man of simple tastes. With a smirk, Changzi brings him back to reality, saying that all depends on them actually surviving this place. Hiding in the bushes, they figure that scream from earlier was just some other poor schmuck who was not so lucky. This source of that scream turns out to be a massive, rotting wolf monster just finishing its lunch. And for some reason, that glowing red core in its chest feels strangely familiar to Changzi, who realizes it feels exactly like an awakening stone, wondering if monsters can have attributes too. Liu Zia is just impressed by his friend's total lack of fear, feeling very validated in his choice of comrade. So after the wolf wanders off, they cautiously approach the scene of the crime. Finding what is left of the victim is basically just a ribcage, and Liu Zia is not handling it well. But our boy immediately starts digging through the gory remains, much to his friend's absolute horror, who is having a full-blown meltdown that Changzi is just touching it with his bare hands. Changzi just shrugs, casually mentioning he has hidden his stone in far worse places, like latrines. From the corpse, he pulls out a pretty sweet bone knife because waste not, want not. Just as he is admiring his new toy, Liu Zia yells that their furry friend is back for round 2. And sure enough, the giant wolf is staring them down, probably annoyed they are looting its leftovers. Turns out, Changzi knew it was a trap and walked into it on purpose to test out his new weapon. So he hands the knife to Liu Zi, asking him to hold the monster off for a moment, then immediately clarifies that he will do the fighting and his friend should just provide backup. Remembering his sister's advice to always strike first, he launches himself forward without hesitation. Charging head-on against a monster easily 10 times his size, zero fear, all guts. He is surprisingly agile, weaving through the wolf's attacks like he has been doing this for years. But despite his speed, he cannot quite reach the core and nearly gets turned into a chew toy. Suddenly, a system window pops up. He has gained the wolf's bloodlust attribute, confirming his unique power actually works. Liu Zi suddenly goes full-on Bart Simpson, whipping out a slingshot to distract the beast, and his shot smacks the wolf right in the face, stunning it for a critical moment. Seeing his chance, Liu Zi screams for Chengzi to make his move while the monster's dazed. And with a look of pure focus, our boy confirms he is on it, time for the real attack. Chengzi lunges forward with that bone knife, aiming straight for the glowing red core in its chest, plunging the blade deep into the weak spot and causing the wolf to roar in absolute agony. As red energy erupts from the core, he struggles to push the knife in even further, putting every last ounce of strength into it as he screams while driving the blade home. His face is pure, unadulterated, "I am not dying here today" determination. This monster is impaled, its life force exploding out in a shower of red light, but just as he thinks it is over, the dying beast swings a massive paw right at him. That last-ditch attack sends Chengzi flying across the clearing like a ragdoll, and the wolf finally collapses, dead for real this time, but our boy is nowhere in sight. Liu Zi is frozen in horror, calling out his friend's name, fearing the absolute worst. For a tense moment, the only thing moving is the blood pooling around the dead monster. Then Chengzi pops up from behind the corpse with a smirk, coolly saying he is not that easy to kill, and boom, level up, his unique attribute kicks in, immediately offering him a choice of new powers. This system presents him with 3 options, 1 bronze and 2 shiny gold tier attributes. So he immediately picks a gold one called Independent Research and Development, which sounds vaguely corporate but promising. Its effect is insane, a passive 15% boost to all his attributes, plus another powerful active skill. Chengzi is absolutely loving this new power, especially since it is just the first tier with tons of room to grow. But Liu Zi quickly snaps him out of it, telling him to loot the corpse before they become the next meal. Our boy is already wrist-deep in gore, which sends his squeamish friend into a full-blown panic, who admits his parents never even let him kill a chicken, so all the gross monster parts are Chengzi's problem now. This just reminds Chengzi how different they are, with Liu Zi having a loving family still intact in this apocalypse. So he offers his friend the crystal stones he dug out, saying the rest of the wolf is basically useless mush. Liu Zi is stunned, questioning why he'd give away the only valuable loot from their first kill. Chengzi just calls it an investment share in his family's rebellion, a pretty slick business move, and he even gives his friend credit, admitting that slingshot to the eye was the real game changer. Totally pumped, Liu Zi accepts the deal, promising to tell his dad all about his new strategic partner. He then brings up the obvious problem. Leaving through the main entrance means handing everything over to the thugs. Chengzi's counterplan is simple and violent. They will just fight their way out after they have leveled up some more. His friend grins, revealing his dad probably already knows he was taken and is just waiting for the signal to attack. With their exit strategy sorted, they decide to head deeper into the forest to hunt for more XP. But Liu Zi stops him for a quick comrade huddle, saying they need to get a few things straight first. Chengzi gives him a serious look, ready to hear whatever his newly minted revolutionary partner has to say. Then Liu Zi drops his own power reveal. He also has a gold tier attribute called Butcher's Precision. A flashback shows his skill activating, which is how he spotted the wolf's critical weak point in its eye. Chengzi is touched by the trust but internally smirks, wondering how his friend would react to his Radiant Class asterisk power. He flashes back to their childhood, suddenly worried that the massive gap in their abilities might change everything between them. Chengzi clenches his fist, feeling the weight of the secret he is still keeping from his new comrade. He lies about his power, claiming it is a gold tier attribute that gives him a tidy 15% stat boost. With a stone-cold face, he insists he is telling the truth, and Liu Zi just stares, trying to read him. His friend lets out a huge sigh of relief, admitting he was worried Chengzi's power would totally outclass his. Ecstatic that they are perfectly matched, he throws an arm around Chengzi, officially declaring them power bros, fully hyped. Liu Zi drags him off to go hunt more wolves, ready for their revolutionary team-up tour. He even apologizes for doubting him, promising total honesty, while Chengzi just smiles through the guilt. Back to the grind, our boy plunges his knife into another one of those creepy forest wolves, while Liu Zi provides backup from a safe distance, now upgraded from a slingshot to a proper bow. Chengzi dodges a flurry of claws, showing off some serious agility in the heat of battle, and he lands a critical hit, driving the blade straight into the monster's glowing red eye. After carving up their latest kill, Liu Zi asks if Chengzi wants any of the loot for himself, but Chengzi passes, saying the materials are more useful to his friend's rebellion anyway. Then comes the level check. Liu Zi is level 2, but Chengzi casually reveals he has already hit level 4. Liu Zi absolutely loses it, grabbing his friend in disbelief at the massive XP gap between them. He then sulks in a corner, admitting he is too squeamish to get the killing blows, earning a little ribbing from Chengzi. Of course, he immediately backtracks, insisting he is a natural-born support player, a very convincing performance. Internally, Changzi reveals the real reason. He has a second radiant attribute that boosts his XP gain by 50%. He realizes even radiant class powers have different strengths, with this new one being weaker than his codex. Suddenly, a voice echoes through the forest, calling out a Liu Zhu and demanding to know what they are doing. Liu Ze sarcastically notes the beautiful voice, realizing they have stumbled upon another group of people. Changzi immediately tries to be the responsible one, telling his friend to avoid trouble and just walk away. He insists leveling up is their only priority, leaving Liu Ze absolutely stunned by this sudden work ethic. Our boy explains that this place slowly drains your life force, so they cannot afford to waste any time. That voice turns out to be some creep threatening a woman, giving her the classic cooperate or else ultimatum. Liu Ze is immediately on board, getting a pervy grin and telling Changzi to check out the show. With a perfectly straight face, Changzi agrees there is no harm in looking so much for avoiding trouble. This target of this harassment is a woman who looks furious, accusing her attacker of setting a trap. A smarmy-looking goon with green hair confirms it, calling this a rare chance to get close to a big shot. He then flexes by showing off her dead bodyguards, trying to intimidate her with his higher level. His master plan is to force her into marriage so he can climb the social ladder by joining her family. With a truly unhinged grin, the guy declares them a match made in heaven, a match made in HR's worst nightmare. Liu Ze, meanwhile, is giving Changzi the play-by-play, explaining the servant's betrayal to his master. He is practically vibrating with excitement, demanding to know what Changzi thinks of all this juicy drama. Changzi, ever the opportunist, is already calculating how they can profit if her guards are really gone. His friend completely misreads the room, thinking Changzi wants to join the bad guys for some fun. But our boy clarifies his much colder plan, wait for them to kill each other, then loot the bodies. Back in the clearing, the green-haired villain finally lunges, deciding to force the issue himself. This woman just gives him a stone-cold glare, looking more annoyed than scared. And she effortlessly blocks his attack with a golden energy blade, proving she is way more than he bargained for. This green-haired goon is absolutely floored after she throws some kind of powder right in his face. She makes a break for it, thinking the paralysis powder will not last long enough to stop her escape, and even boasts that this kind of weak poison is completely useless against her anyway. But her attacker is already back on his feet, furiously declaring that playtime is officially over. Suddenly, she is slammed by an invisible force, stopping her dead in her tracks with a flash of red energy. And she collapses to the ground, completely immobilized as the villain smirks from a safe distance. He gloats that while the powder numbed his face, he did not need it to launch his real attack. Watching from the bushes, Liu Ze explains that this is the power of a level gap, a massive stat difference. He asks how Changzi knows this, and our boy casually says he calculated the stat boosts from killing wolves. Liu Ze has a full-on chibai meltdown, just now realizing his friend is a secret combat analyst. Meanwhile, the villain looms over the woman, telling her not to move or his dagger's special effect will activate faster. Yikes. She spits back that her family will hunt him to the ends of the earth if he dares to touch her, which just makes him laugh, revealing he never actually wanted to marry into her family in the first place. His real much scummier plan is to just ruin her reputation and by extension her family's name. Then he leans in, telling her to say goodbye to her honor, truly a top-tier villain monologue. But just as he moves in, she stabs herself in the arm with her own hidden dagger, using that moment of shock to whip around and plunge the blade straight into his throat. This guy is completely stunned, choking on his own blood with a knife sticking out of his neck. And he cannot believe she chose death over capture, managing to take him down with her. With a cold glare, she confirms the dagger was poisoned, ensuring he dies while she preserves her family's honor. Just as the villain goes for the kill, a flash of blue lightning announces a very rude interruption, and Changzi slams a supercharged fist right into the guy's chest, shattering his attack completely. He gives the stunned woman a quick, cool glance, basically a non-verbal "you are welcome," then follows up with a spinning kick that sends the green-haired creep flying head over heels. Liu Ze strolls out from the bushes, smugly announcing he knew Changzi could not resist playing hero. Our boy just says he has his reasons, looking all grim and mysterious about it. But then the woman they just saved promptly faceplants into the dirt, leaving them both stunned. And Changzi quickly diagnoses that she just fainted from a cocktail of stress and poison. Liu Ze points out the obvious flaw in their rescue. She is still going to die from that poison pretty soon. But Changzi immediately declares her too valuable to their rebellion to just let her expire. His friend is baffled, reminding him they have absolutely zero antidote-making skills on their resumes. Changzi just points back at the unconscious villain, hinting he has got a plan for their new prisoner. That plan apparently was to strip him down and tie him up while he was out cold, which makes Liu Ze a little nervous about retaliation from the guy's powerful backers. While carrying the woman, Changzi explains the villain is a disposable pawn now that his cover is blown, and anyone who comes after them would also be picking a fight with this very important lady. Liu Ze is sparkling with admiration, totally claiming he thought of that too. Sure you did, buddy. At that moment, their prisoner starts to wake up, complaining his head feels like it got kicked in. And he is greeted by the sight of our two heroes looming over him with terrifying, glowing grins. Now fully awake and terrified, the villain demands to know who ambushed him. Welcome to your interrogation. This villain immediately pulls the "do you even know who I am" card, a classic opening for someone about to have a very bad day. Liu Zi asks for the game plan, casually comparing their new prisoner to a wild boar they once captured. He keeps up the threats, promising this guy a miserable end, but the villain is still trying to bluff his way out. After a little persuasion, he is suddenly very cooperative, revealing his blood is the antidote and begging for his life. I drags him over to the unconscious woman, telling him his survival now depends entirely on telling the truth. Our boy prepares to draw some blood with his knife, while the villain cries about how much it is going to hurt. With zero sympathy, Changzi slices into his arm, because professional courtesy is not on the menu today. This blood drips down onto the woman's face, serving as a very questionable, very direct antidote delivery system. Now the villain is screaming for him to stop, complaining that he is not a human juice box. I then orders Liu Zi to wrap the wound with wolf hide to keep the blood from attracting monsters. Liu Zi looks way too happy about this, grinning like a maniac as he ties up their prisoner. He then starts bragging that he is totally unmoved by the woman's looks, unlike some people, because his heart belongs only to his beloved Xiaoyu, a surprisingly wholesome reveal from the resident psycho. This supposedly unconscious woman lets out a grunt, which is probably the most honest review of his love life he will ever get. Meanwhile, Changzi tells their prisoner, now hanging from a branch, to be patient while the cure takes effect. And right on cue, the woman's eyes flutter open, proving the villain was actually telling the truth for once. He is absolutely thrilled, shouting, "See, I was not lying," as if he deserves a medal for it. Now awake and leaning on Changzi, the woman asks the obvious question, "You saved me." Changzi just says he has his reasons, admitting he overheard her conversation and knows she is a big shot. She introduces herself as Guan, deciding there is no point hiding her identity from her new, very opportunistic saviors. Their prisoner is absolutely seething, his grand ambitions completely derailed by a couple of nobodies. Changzi immediately starts questioning Guan, asking if her father is some kind of settlement administrator. She is totally baffled, wondering if he is genuinely clueless about her family's power or just playing dumb. Our boy just stares her down, demanding a straight answer, no time for games. Guan confirms it is sort of true since her family controls hundreds of settlements, so yeah, close enough. With that established, Changzi immediately cashes in his favor, asking for a little help from her dad. She is understandably cautious, wanting to hear the request before agreeing her life is worth that much. Then he drops the bombshell. He wants to overthrow his own settlement's administrator and needs her family's backing. Her face goes completely deadpan, finally understanding this is just a shakedown with extra steps. Changzi lays out his business proposal. In exchange for her help, he and Liu Zi will be her bodyguards. She gives him a look that just screams bodyguards, probably remembering how her last ones ended up. He even throws in all the resources they find from now on, so long as she agrees to their revolutionary pact. Guan glances over at Liu Zi, clearly trying to size up the other half of this chaotic duo. Liu Zi just gives a casual shrug, basically saying he has zero objections to whatever madness is happening. Internally, she is impressed, admitting that Changzi is far more calm and decisive than she is. A small smile forms as she decides that while he is reckless, adventuring with him might actually be interesting. She officially accepts the deal, extending her hand and introducing herself as Guan Ju. They shake on it, sealing a brand new alliance built on mutual desperation and opportunism. I then introduces himself and his good brother Liu Zi, making the team official. All the while their captive watches in disgust, sneering at the noble lady touching hands with lowest-class outcasts. Their captive is absolutely seething, convinced this woman is completely unworthy of his true master. Guan Ju turns to Changzi, asking him what they should do with their new prisoner. Our boy just smoothly passes the buck, saying they are partners now, so the decision is all hers. He even calls the guy a greeting gift, which sends the villain into a panic, begging for his life. She accepts the responsibility, stepping forward with a look that says she's got this handled. As she moves, she notices Changzi put down a piece of cloth to cover the ground for her. Internally, she is a little impressed, thinking he is surprisingly considerate for a ruthless schemer. Then she picks up a dagger, clearly ready to get some well-deserved payback. Liu Zi helpfully points out her blood neutralizes poison, so a little stab will not actually kill him. She confirms she is not aiming for a fatal blow, just planning to make him bleed a bit. This does nothing to calm the villain, who is now desperately promising to disappear forever if she spares him. Meanwhile, Liu Zi is having a full-on romance novel fantasy, complete with a cheesy title card. He is totally convinced she is just a soft-hearted heroine who is about to let the bad guy go. And then she just stabs the dude right in the shoulder, shattering that delusion into a million pieces. Changzi, completely unfazed by the screaming, just announces it is time for them to leave. This two of them casually walk away, leaving Guan Ju to deal with the traitor on her own. Liu Zi immediately starts complaining to Changzi that she was too soft for not finishing the job. But our boy explains the real strategy. In this dungeon, the smell of blood attracts monsters. He clarifies that leaving him to be slowly eaten is way more cold-blooded than a quick death. A smug grin spreads across Liu Zi's face, realizing he completely misjudged her ruthless streak. Back with their captive, he is still tied up and very much not having a good time. He is screaming empty threats, promising to make Guan Ju's death miserable once he escapes. Good luck with that, buddy. This guy gets even scummier, detailing some truly awful revenge fantasies with a twisted grin. And speak of the devil, a couple of very hungry-looking wolves show up, drawn by the scent of blood. He's completely panicked, wondering how the monsters found him so quickly. It is called a dinner bell, my dude. One of the wolves grabs him by the head and all his tough talk immediately turns into desperate pleading. From a safe distance, Guanju notes that the screaming has already started, confirming their plan worked perfectly. Even Liu Zi, the resident psycho, looks a little shaken, admitting the guy's end sounds pretty brutal. Guanju then points out to Chengzi that leaving him for dead was impulsive since he could have revealed his mastermind. She explains that solving her problem means finding who is really behind the attack, calling Chengzi kind for thinking of her. But then she smirks, revealing she does not really have enemies and has probably already guessed who sent him. Chengzi clarifies his own logic, saying he was thinking of their asterisk alliance and wanted a living witness for them. He then counters that if the enemy is too powerful, a witness just becomes a liability anyway. Our boy muses that even a big shot like her has problems that cannot be solved with brute force. Just then, a massive monster wolf drops from the sky, aiming to turn them into a 3-course meal. Chengzi immediately activates a skill, getting a massive 300% agility boost for a minute and a half. This monster lunges forward, its jaws wide open and ready to snap them in half. But with his new speed, he snatches Guanju and zips out of the way, leaving the beast to bite nothing but air. He stares down the creature, noting its immense size with a look of pure, unblinking focus. And the system confirms it. They have just run into the level 5 Nether Bone Wolf King, the dungeon's final boss. Liu Zia is having a complete meltdown, screaming that they have stumbled upon the Wolf King. And an overhead view confirms they are absolutely surrounded by the boss and its very large, very hungry family. His panic hits a new level, cartoonishly wailing that the king is here for revenge on behalf of all its fallen minions. Chengzi, ever the stoic, just calmly notes that they probably deserve this for all the wolves they have hunted. This is not the time for philosophy, as Liu Ze tearfully begs him to come up with an actual plan. Our boy lays out the strategy. Liu Ze plays bodyguard for Guanju while he goes on the offensive. Liu Ze points out the very obvious flaw in this plan. He has a slingshot and they are facing a literal god-tier wolf. With ice in his veins, Chengzi just clarifies his target is not the minions, it is the king itself. A quick stat check shows he is only level 4, but he has got some pretty sweet skills in his arsenal. Turns out this was all a calculated move. He used the villain's blood to bait the boss for a massive XP boost. He stares down the beast, basically telling it, "You are my next level up," which is just peak gamer confidence. Just as he is about to charge, Guanju suddenly tells him to hold on for a second. She points out his current knife is basically a chipped rock and offers him a proper weapon for the job. This proper weapon is a seriously nice-looking dagger, a definite upgrade from his DIY bone shiv. Liu Zia is just baffled how she managed to hide a whole blade in that tiny skirt, a mystery for the ages. Chengzi accepts the gift with a grin, now properly equipped for some giant monster slaying. Right on cue, the Wolf King lunges forward with a roar, clearly done waiting for them to finish their inventory management. Instead of dodging, our boy just leaps right onto the monster's arm and starts running up it like a ramp. He knows perfectly well that trying to outmuscle this thing would be a complete waste of time. So the plan is to use his speed to climb the beast and find a much more vulnerable spot to stab. His entire strategy hinges on finding the wolf's blood-red core and just shattering it. With that fancy new dagger, he dives right in for the kill shot, no hesitation at all. He is literally hanging on by its teeth, aiming for that one glowing weak spot to end this. While riding the boss, he is also busy fending off its much smaller but still very angry cousins. The sheer scale of this fight is just wild, with our boy looking like a fly on a monster's back. This goal remains simple: find the glowing red core and turn it into a fine powder. He readies the blade, his eyes locked on the target with absolute killer focus. One good stab in that glowing spot is all it'll take to finish this whole nightmare. Parkouring across a pack of giant wolves is his new strategy, which is a bold career choice. But just as he is about to strike, another wolf lunges, revealing they are actually coordinating their attacks. Chengzi realizes the first lunge was just a feint. These monsters are way more clever than he expected. He's not worried though, smugly thinking that no matter how smart, wolves cannot outplay a human. This Wolf King roars right in his face, seeming to take that last thought personally. And then Chengzi drops a bombshell with a smirk, revealing he never planned to fight just *1 Wolf King. Right on cue, Liu Ze's eyes start glowing as his own system window pops up. Turns out he's got a skill called Butcher's Precision that lets him spot an enemy's weak point. Suddenly, his slingshot is firing off these insane ricocheting shots, tagging multiple wolves at once. Liu Zia is somehow holding his own against the horde, creating a much-needed opening for Chengzi. A blood-splattered Chengzi grins, boasting that he and his tender chicken have perfected their teamwork. Guanju just watches in shock, admitting she totally underestimated Liu Zia as just some sidekick. Liu Zia just smirks, telling Guanju she is about to see what a sidekick can really do. Meanwhile, the remaining wolves get a bloodlust buff, making them even faster and deadlier. Chengzi is not waiting around, leaping into the fray to take on the Wolf King himself. One of the minions lunges for the backline, but Liu Zia is already firing back to cover them. Suddenly, the Wolf King's shadow falls over them, and Liu Zia absolutely loses his mind. This boss opens its massive jaws, ready to turn them into a mid-dungeon snack, but Chengzi screams for them to get down, already prepping a massive counterattack. He starts glowing, channeling all his power into one decisive all-or-nothing strike. With intense focus, he knows he can win this, but it is going to take every ability he has. He activates a flame empowerment skill, turning his daggers into blazing projectiles, and with a yell, he hurls both flaming blades straight at the charging monster. Liu Zhe and Guan Ju can only brace for impact as the fiery attack meets the beast head-on. His daggers connect in a massive fiery explosion that completely engulfs the Wolf King. Liu Zhe is just stunned by the sheer power, while Guan Ju looks on in total disbelief. All that is left is a giant smoking chasm where the boss used to be. Talk about overkill. Guan Ju is floored, thinking that even the level 8 elites in her family could not pull this off. She stares at Chengzi, trying to figure out his real level since the dungeon has a cap. Liu Zhe casually clarifies that Chengzi is only level 4, which makes absolutely no sense. Her mind is just reeling. A level 4 is outperforming people twice his level, and it is not even close. She tries to logic it out, noting his fire ability should be weak, but the results say otherwise. Guan Ju is seriously impressed, thinking he might be the exact kind of talent her father's been looking for, and with a look of pure satisfaction, Chengzi knows his insane plan actually worked. This system confirms it, giving him a massive 75% experience boost for being so far ahead of the curve. This immediately pushes him from level 4 to level 5, unlocking a brand new word attribute choice. He is presented with 3 options, all of them seemingly related to the wolves he just slaughtered. Our boy considers the wolf nature attribute, noting it is a gamble but might have some hidden potential. After a moment of thought, he decides to roll the dice on a different, more direct skill instead. He locks in Headshot Strike, a skill that guarantees a critical hit with a 150% damage increase. With a smug grin, he realizes this new combat skill could be a one-shot kill when stacked with his other abilities. But first things first, he gets right to work skinning the Wolf King for all that sweet, sweet loot. As the team gathers, Guan Ju asks him what possible use he has for a bunch of monster parts. Chengzi explains they are valuable for trade back home, but he is giving all the spoils to her per their agreement. Internally, she is scoffing, thinking these materials are so worthless her family's servants would not even touch them. Then she remembers her father's lesson about not underestimating people, realizing Chengzi is a true hidden genius. Chengzi notes the dungeon's energy is making his arm numb, while Liu Zhe is having a full-blown panic about his blood freezing. Shrugging off the pain, our boy just grabs his friend, saying they need to hunt more monsters for XP. He is driven by the image of some powerful enemy, knowing he needs to level up to eventually take him down. Just then, Guan Ju chimes in, saying there is a much better way to gain experience than aimless hunting. Both guys turn around, curious about this supposed better destination she is talking about. She explains that every dungeon has a true boss, whose defeat offers way more rewards than any normal monster. She explains that the real boss guards a treasure trove of high-tier loot, making the risk totally worth it. Liu Zhe is completely lost, pointing out that they literally just killed a boss, the giant Wolf King. Ai clarifies that the Wolf King was a roaming type, while the true boss is stationary and guards its treasure. With that cleared up, Guan Ju gives Chengzi a look, clearly impressed by his quick grasp of dungeon mechanics. But our boy brings up the real issue. They are on the clock and have no idea where to even start looking. Guan Ju smirks, saying that while it is usually tough, she has a special item for finding bosses in low-level dungeons. Liu Zhe immediately starts whispering to Chengzi, complaining that she is just showing off again. He is still salty she almost died but acts so smug, and he is still hung up on her magical, item-dispensing skirt. Chengzi plays defense, guessing she is just from a more advanced world and has a storage-type ability. This earns him a very suspicious side-eye from Liu Zhe, who asks if he is crushing on her or something. Just then, Guan Ju announces she has found the item, internally deciding not to tell them how valuable it really is. She reveals a perception pointer, a fancy compass that will lead them straight to the boss's location. This system confirms it is a green-grade item, perfect for sniffing out the big bad in this kind of dungeon. As they get ready to move, Liu Zhe is still demanding an answer about Chengzi's love life priorities, man. Their compass leads them to a desolate canyon where a massive, shadowy beast is sleeping on a stone altar. Liu Zhe is already sweating, barely able to believe that this is the final boss they are supposed to fight. It is a colossal, spiky red boar with tusks the size of daggers, currently enjoying a nice nap. And then it wakes up, its eyes glowing with fury as the system IDs it as a level 10 spiked red demon boar. A system warning pops up, confirming it is the only boss and killing it will collapse the entire dungeon. Hiding in the bushes, Chengzi notes its level 10 status means it has 2 word attributes, making this fight incredibly difficult. Guan Ju admits her teacher warned her that dungeon bosses are basically demigods you do not mess with, and to even fight one you have to be a special awakened one who breaks all the rules. Liu Zhe, ever the pragmatist, asks why in the world she brought them here if it is a suicide run. With a knowing look, she says she is betting that Chengzi is exactly that kind of transcendent fighter. Before anyone can unpack that compliment, Chengzi shushes them, whispering that they have got company. A whole squad of armed mercs strolls in, led by a guy who looks way too happy to be here. This leader is gloating that after 10 tries he has finally cornered the boss, talk about holding a grudge. From their hiding spot, Liu Zhe asks if these newcomers are just a bunch of idiots on a death wish. Chengzi points out the leader's strange weapon, a gun, which Liu Zhe has never even heard of. He flashes back to seeing a similar weapon absolutely shredding monsters, realizing it is no joke. Guanju chimes in with a history lesson, calling it a replica of an ancient weapon that could level cities. This just leaves Liu Zi more confused, wondering how their world got so wrecked if the old-timers were that powerful. She continues, explaining that word attribute users are even stronger, some capable of reshaping reality itself. Right on cue, the mercs open fire on the boar and the whole area erupts in a massive explosion. Our boy Changzi just watches from the sidelines as this unexpected boss battle kicks off without them. This spiked boar roars, taking the hits head-on as the mercs unload everything they have got. A system window reveals the leader's skill, bullet formation, letting him turn his energy into infinite ammo. Laughing like a maniac, the leader just keeps firing, clearly enjoying his unlimited ammo cheat code. While the mercs are busy being a loud, flashy distraction, Changzi spots the real prize, the treasure chest. But their plan hits a snag as the boar's hide is so tough the bullets are just bouncing right off. Guanju asks if his brilliant plan is to let the mercs and the boss kill each other. Ai has no clue what that means, so Liu Zi explains the idiom while roasting his education. This turns into a full-on Chibai lecture, with Liu Zi milking his moment of intellectual superiority. With a shrug, Changzi confirms that is exactly the plan since they are too weak for a direct fight. Guanju then notices the dungeon's energy is corrupting his arm with some nasty black veins, so she pulls out some special family medicine that can resist the dungeon's corrosive effects. Liu Zi is thrilled, complaining he was about to die and she was just holding out on them. Changzi asks if it is expensive, while Liu Zi calculates that it must be worth a fortune. This thought of the debt sends Liu Zi into a complete mental breakdown, the price of friendship. Guanju just casually lies, saying the pills are super cheap and basically worthless. Relieved, Changzi promises to pay her back, narrowly avoiding a debt-induced panic attack. She watches him, noting that despite being poor, he is too proud to accept a handout. Internally, she admits one pill is worth 2,000 supply tickets and he'd never take it if he knew. Meanwhile, the mercs are getting absolutely demolished by the boar, which is not going well for them. It is just shrugging off their bullets, its eyes glowing as it prepares for another rampage. This merc leader realizes the boar has a defensive word attribute, making his guns useless. Undeterred, he just keeps firing, screaming that he will show this pig what real firepower is. He has got this absolutely unhinged grin on his face, clearly enjoying this way too much. His loyal goons then form a human shield around him, a truly inspiring leadership moment. But the leader plants a flag, activating a war flag of courage skill that creates a protective barrier. Watching from the sidelines, Changzi admits the merc leader must be impressive to have such loyal followers. But his attention is not on the fight, it is on the treasure chest and how to open it. Liu Zi is shocked, but Guanju confirms that our boy is also a seasoned lockpicker apparently. This revelation kicks off a quiet conversation between the two of them while they wait. Guanju admits she has never been outside her settlement and asks what the world is really like. And Liu Zi confesses he is not exactly an adventurer either, preferring to stick to safe zones. Changzi, on the other hand, has seen the outside world, a ruined city both decayed and vibrant. That description of a world both ruined and alive seems to really resonate with Guanju. So she asks him what kind of world he sees while he is still focused on the loot. With a satisfying click, the lock pops open. Changzi surprised the mechanism is so familiar. Now for the big reveal as he prepares to lift the lid and see what is inside. He cracks it open and is immediately blasted by a blinding light and a deafening sound. Which was a terrible idea because the noise sends the boar into an absolute rage. A system window confirms its attributes are activating as the beast erupts in fiery energy. And those furious eyes lock right onto Changzi, who realizes the boss has a new favorite person. In an instant, the massive flaming boar is charging right at his position. Changzi digs in, preparing himself for the head-on collision that is about to happen. But at the last second, the beast just barrels right past him, leaving a trail of blood. Our boy is just stunned, wondering why all those mercs suddenly collapsed and did not stop it. Then the merc leader, bleeding but still fighting, screams at Changzi to run for his life. This merc leader, bleeding all over the place, tells Changzi to run and survive for them, a sudden hero moment. Completely baffled, Changzi just watches as the leader points him out, saying he is fast and strong enough to finish this. As the flaming boar barrels down, Changzi screams for Liu Zi's help, questioning his humanity for ditching him. And Liu Zi is absolutely booking it, having a full-on moral crisis about whether it is human to run. Yes, it is, my guy. Activating his weak point detection, Changzi's goggles light up as he yells for Liu Zi to slash its butt, the timeless strategy. In a ridiculously bold move, Changzi leaps right onto the massive boar's back and drives his blade in. It lets out a massive roar of pain as its health bar drops to 35%, the attack actually landed. This merc leader watches in total disbelief, stunned that this kid actually wounded the level 10 boss with its powers active. A system window reveals its second attribute, heat flow conversion, which turns its breath into a scorching 140-degree heat wave. Getting slowly cooked on its back, Changzi realizes he needs a way to attack without being turned into barbecue. Our boy recalls that a level 10 creature has 2 word attributes, and this one has now played both its cards. This boar seems to catch on, realizing Changzi is trying to use its own body heat to launch an attack. Enraged, the beast thrashes violently, trying to buck him off as sparks fly from its tough hide. Supported by his buddy, the merc leader gets up, declaring their lives are now in Changzi's hands. With a totally unhinged grin, the merc leader just screams at the top of his lungs, "Kill it!" In response, I activates his own attributes, getting a massive 300% speed boost and a flame enchantment. His eyes glowing intensely, he stares down the boar, ready to activate every combat attribute and bet it all on this one shot. Launching himself high into the air, he prepares for a devastating dive attack on the flaming beast below. Mid-air, he screams at Liu Zi to call out the monster's weak point for him. Liu Zi's eye glows with a targeting reticle, and he yells back to aim for the left rib area. It is go time. With the weak point locked, Changzi becomes a human missile aimed right at the boar's ribs, and he connects with a massive, fiery slash that tears into the beast's side. Pushing through the pain, he pours every last bit of his power into this final assault, unleashing a whirlwind of slashes that carve the giant monster up like a holiday roast. From the sidelines, Liu Zi is his #1 hype man, screaming for him to finish it, while Guanju just watches, genuinely worried if her big bet on him will actually pay off. Even the merc leader, who is probably bleeding out, is now a full-blown fan, telling the kid not to lose. His eyes glowing with power, Changzi is completely in the zone, channeling everything for one last push, becoming a blur of red and blue energy as he delivers the final spectacular blow. This boar's health bar plummets to 1% as it lets out a final, agonizing roar, and our boy is still going, completely engulfed in flames and running on pure adrenaline. In a massive crash, the colossal beast finally collapses to the ground, totally defeated. A system window confirms the kill, officially making them the proud new owners of a dead level 10 boar. Changzi stands on its head, looking every bit the hero as his blade smokes from the effort, and his friends come running, with Liu Zi already celebrating and, more importantly, carrying the loot. Guanju, however, immediately notices he is severely burned and in desperate need of medical help, which is an understatement. Our boy is covered in blood and looks like he just went 10 rounds with the sun. He just asks them to keep watch while he tries to catch his breath, clearly at his absolute limit. After they agree, he sits down as a green healing aura begins to glow around him, his eyes still sharp despite the damage, already starting to recover from the insane fight. A system window pops up, activating his far ahead word attribute, which immediately nets him a massive X boost, rocketing him straight from level 5 to 7. His Eternal Evolution Codex then kicks in, letting him literally extract a new skill from the dead boss. From the loot menu, he spots the merc leader's bullet formation attribute, and a few other options, some of which are tantalizingly marked unknown. While healing, he dismisses the bullet skill since ancient guns are way out of his price range. His eyes instead land on a mysterious gold tier attribute called Refresh Once. And since gold is always the right answer in video games, he picks it without a second thought. Turns out it is a cooldown reset for all his skills, basically a do-over button for his powers. Changzi immediately realizes he can now spam his abilities for some truly insane burst damage, but the rewards are not over as he gets to pick yet another attribute from a new set. Sticking with his go for gold strategy, he grabs another high-tier skill without hesitation. This one gives him a passive 45% stat boost and a temporary 450% super buff, an absolute game changer. Our boy cannot help but grin, realizing just how broken these gold tier skills really are. Now at level 7, he clenches his fist, vowing to catch up to some guy named Zhao Zhiji. Suddenly, the whole dungeon starts shaking violently, catching his friends completely off guard. Liu Zi freaks out about an earthquake, but Guanju knows the truth. The dungeon is collapsing. Before they can bolt, the merc leader comes over, declaring Changzi his new best friend and saying he owes him one. With a final farewell, the leader and his battered crew limp out of the crumbling cave. Guanju watches them go, then turns to Changzi, asking if he is even able to walk. Changzi, looking like he just wrestled a volcano, confirms he is fine and says it is time to bail. While they are booking it, Liu Zi suddenly remembers the most important thing, the treasure chest. Guanju just smirks, revealing she has a convenient hammer space ability for all their loot. She then hands Changzi a fancy new sword while they are all sprinting for their lives. It is his now, she says, a down payment for helping her with a little light treason back home. Liu Zi, however, points out they are about to run straight into another deathmatch right outside. With a determined look, Guanju insists she is going to make it, no matter what. This whole cave is coming down as they dive headfirst into the exit portal. And on the other side, Liu Zi confirms he is prepped for whatever's waiting for them. Turns out whatever is a whole welcoming committee of armed thugs, just as predicted. Their leader, Zhao Zhiji, takes a drag from his cigarette, genuinely surprised they did not die in there. But he says it is pointless since the administrator wants Liu Zi dead anyway. Orders are orders. One of his goons gets this absolutely terrifying grin, clearly thrilled to have permission to murder. Changzi stands ready, his new level 7 status glowing as he faces the ambush. Liu Zi agrees they need to fight, ready to activate his butcher's precision, which sounds messy. Zhao Zhiji, a whole level higher, just laughs at them, calling them trash for even trying. His lackeys eagerly draw their blades, ready to give our boys a taste of their power. With a final command to take their heads, the whole mob charges forward for the bounty. In response, Changzi grips the hilt of his new sword, preparing to draw it, his face set with grim determination as the fight is about to kick off. With his new sword, Changzi becomes a green blur, taunting the thugs for being too slow. Mid-slash, he calls out Zhao Zhiji, making it crystal clear he is done being pushed around. This remaining goons are just stunned, completely unable to process how fast the kid is now. As Changzi stands there glowing, they notice the dungeon portal is collapsing behind them, and Zhao Zhiji finally connects the dots, realizing the dungeon boss must be dead. With a smug grin, he assumes they just leached X from whoever asterisk actually killed the boss. Pulling his own sword, he boasts that their piddly level up means absolutely nothing to him. But Liu Ze steps up to correct him, saying his little theory is hilariously wrong. And then he strikes a pose, proudly declaring he was the one who slayed the mighty beast, which is of course a massive lie, as he begs Changzi to just let him have this one moment. Zhao Zhiji is completely baffled, demanding to know what kind of power Liu Ze even has. This villain starts sweating a little, realizing if Liu Ze is not bluffing, he might be in deep trouble. So Liu Ze hams it up, telling Changzi to strike first while he prepares his ultimate move. Falling for the bluff completely, Zhao Zhiji orders his goons to stall Liu Ze while he kills Changzi. His lackeys eagerly agree, ready to jump the guy they now think is the real threat. Except they are immediately complaining that their boss is a coward for making them fight the stronger one. Meanwhile, Liu Ze is already booking it, leaving Changzi to handle the actual problem. Zhao Zhiji, completely focused on his target, lunges forward screaming for his head, and their blades meet in a massive crackling shower of sparks. This villain is instantly shocked by the sheer, overwhelming force behind Changzi's block. Zhao Zhiji activates his own gold-tier speed attribute, smugly declaring he is the perfect counter. With a 30% speed boost, he challenges Changzi to a race he is absolutely sure he will win. This too become a blur of slashing light, but the villain is still convinced he has the upper hand, until he realizes Changzi is somehow matching him blow for blow, which should not be possible. I finally explains this dude's been bullying him for ages, always trying to steal something precious, flashing back to a time when Zhao Zhiji beat him half to death in his own trashed home. Even back then, getting choked out, our boy refused to give up what the villain wanted. With Zhao Zhiji screaming in his face, blade to his throat, demanding the thing. A single drop hits the water, symbolizing years of pain and struggle, and Changzi reveals he always knew the guy was after the awakening stone. Back in the present, Zhao Zhiji is just sick of the dramatic monologue and wants to get on with it. But Changzi reveals that stone was a gift his sister died to get for him, igniting in flames. He activates a whole suite of skills, including 2 gold-tier attributes and a flame enchantment, channeling 3 years of pure, bottled-up hatred for this one moment of payback. With a furious roar, he unleashes a massive flaming sword strike right at his tormentor, and Zhao Zhiji completely panics, realizing Changzi's speed is still climbing beyond his own. Our boy swears he will never let his sister's last gift be stolen, pouring everything into the attack, forcing Zhao Zhiji into a desperate, gritted-teeth block against the fiery onslaught. Standing over him, Changzi declares that 3 years of humiliation are being repaid in full right now. His remaining goons see this absolute demon of vengeance and wisely decide it is time to run for their lives. With his main target down, Changzi's eyes are cold steel, his vengeance finally complete. But he is not done, turning on the last 2 goons and reminding them they are on his list too. Unleashing a fiery Beyblade of death that cleans up the remaining trash instantly. With his blade still hot, he roars that 3 years of humiliation have finally been repaid. Liu Ze, ever the supportive freeloader, gives him a big thumbs up from a safe distance, before immediately spotting some potential loot on the dead villain's body because priorities. Changzi pulls out the shiny object, a simple pearl bracelet, nothing too fancy. But Liu Ze completely loses it, recognizing the bracelet as his mother's. This horrible realization hits him. His mom and the others have been captured by the administration, frantically explaining that she would never, ever give up her favorite pearls willingly. A quick, painful flashback shows him as a happy kid being hugged by his mother, which just fuels his desperate sprint, praying she is still somehow okay. Changzi tries to calm him down, promising his aunt is still alive, though Liu Ze needs convincing. But he trusts his friend's judgment, knowing Changzi is not one for empty words. Changzi's logic is grimly practical, saying women are too valuable for reproduction to be killed, which is the absolute worst thing to say, sending Liu Ze into a full-blown panic attack. With no time to waste on terrible pep talks, they book it towards the administrative building. And Changzi points it out, his game face back on as they approach their destination. From a rooftop above, a shadowy figure watches their every move, clearly expecting them, and a woman calls out their full names, confirming this is definitely an ambush. Just as they are catching their breath, a group of panicked locals runs up, yelling at them to flee. Apparently, Liu Ze's uncle decided to start a full-blown rebellion against the administrator while they were gone. This uprising is getting absolutely crushed, and they warn that Zhao Zhiji was leading the group sent to arrest them. Liu Ze's face just drops, realizing his own parents are trapped right in the middle of this disaster. His friends try to talk him down, saying they are just normal people who stand no chance against the administrator's forces. A few battered survivors from the fight confirm it. The administrator and his men are way too powerful. So they beg them one more time to just run for it, because this is a fight they absolutely cannot win. But Liu Ze refuses to back down, declaring he will not abandon his mom and dad. He goes full Shounen protagonist, vowing that if he has to die, he will die right alongside his family. Changzi, ever the pragmatist, tells him to use the chaos as a cover to escape now that Zhao Zhiji is dead. He even gives him a little pep talk, saying he is finally free and should go find his sister. But then Changzi's whole demeanor shifts, saying Liu Ze's parents treated him like their own son. His eyes flash with anger, declaring this is not just his friend's fight, he's got a personal stake in this too. Liu Zia is clearly stunned by his friend's sudden ride-or-die declaration of loyalty, and with a massive grin, he agrees they will face whatever comes next together as brothers. As they stand united, the townsfolk whisper in awe, finally realizing the kid they wrote off just took down a major player. Meanwhile, inside the admin building, a blindfolded official glares down at a beaten captive man. This is the big boss, Administrator Fan Dahu, a level 10 behemoth who is just laughing at the failed coup. This captive Liu Fu spits back that the administrator hurt his family and now wants to harm his son. Fan Dahu just gives a classic villain smirk, blaming the guy for his own suffering. What a peach. Fan Dahu offers Liu Fu a deal, bow down, and he can just have another son. What a guy. This price, of course, is lending him his wife for a few days because he is just the worst. She tells him to get lost, choosing death over submitting to him, which is the only correct answer. This bruises his fragile ego, so he smacks her to the ground for her disrespect. And then he taunts the husband, asking if he really thinks death will protect her from him. Liu Fu, completely enraged, screams at the administrator to fight him like a man instead. With a truly disgusting grin, Fan Dahu agrees to kill him first just to be accommodating. He claims he is just too kind-hearted to let the man suffer any longer, a real humanitarian. This administrator lunges forward, ready to deliver a quick death with his bare hands. Liu Zia's mom can only watch in horror as the killing blow descends. Even facing death, Liu Fu is still spitting defiance, promising to be her husband in the next life. But at the last second, two projectiles intercept the attack, spinning like a shield, followed by a massive sword slash that completely deflects the blow, saving Liu Fu's life. And look who it is, Changzi and Liu Zia have arrived, with our boy announcing he is here to collect a head. This captured parents look on in shock as their sons show up to the party. Fan Dahu, however, is completely unimpressed, dismissing them as just a couple of punks. Liu Fu, terrified for them, screams at his son and Changzi to run for their lives. Liu Zia is not having it, activating his butcher's precision weak point detection skill. Aiming his slingshot, he declares that anyone who touches his parents is getting a death sentence. But one of the administrator's goons easily blocks the shot, while the boss mocks his word attribute power. A sudden flash of light explodes through the room, making the administrator pause for a second. Fan Dahu immediately scoffs, assuming it is just a smoke bomb or some other cheap feint. He orders his men not to fall for the diversion and to keep the prisoners from being rescued. But a new challenger drops from the ceiling, announcing that he is the real opponent here. This guy's got white hair and a glowing red eye, looking like he is ready to start some trouble. With a powerful swing of his blade, he cuts right through the smoke, heading for his target. Fan Dahu just smirks, thinking all he has to do is kill the leader to end this whole mess. He then taunts the newcomer, asking if a nobody like him really thinks he can be his opponent. This mysterious fighter zips right past the grunts, telling the boss he is not even worthy of his time. And he moves with blinding speed, leaping through the air to get to Changzi. Changzi is shocked, realizing this new enforcer is somehow even faster than Zhao Zhiji was, and we get an intro card for Jiang Kun, the administrator's #1 enforcer and personal attack dog. Turns out this guy is the settlement's official executioner with a long, bloody history of violence. This townsfolk even gave him a cute little nickname, Vicious Hound, which he clearly lives up to. His reputation is simple. Once he bites, he is guaranteed to tear off a chunk of flesh. Jiang Kun immediately clashes with Changzi, their blades meeting in a massive explosion of sparks. This enforcer is genuinely surprised, demanding to know who this kid is that can actually block his attack. Our boy just tells him his name does not matter since he will be joining Zhao Zhiji in the dirt soon. Hearing that name, Jiang Kun connects the dots, calling I the scum who sold his sister for a stone. He even mocks him, saying Zhao Zhiji told him all about it before lunging in for the kill. Changzi, absolutely done with the slander, ignites his flame enchantment and word attribute. Their blades meet in a massive fiery explosion, a perfect parry from our boy. Jiang Kun just sneers, asking if he is mad because the truth about his sister hurts. Instead of answering, Changzi unleashes a furious spinning slash, completely unfazed by the taunts. This enforcer is genuinely shocked, realizing his mind games had zero effect on the kid's focus. In fact, with Changzi's word attributes active, Jiang Kun is actually struggling to keep up. He cannot believe a teenager is this aggressive and decides this kid is way too dangerous to let live. So he pulls out his own trump card, activating a word attribute to create 2 shadow clones. Now facing a 3-on-1 fight, Jiang Kun declares that Changzi has to die right here. This clones rush in, their strategy being to test our boy's limits before going for the kill. While this is happening, Liu Zia has successfully rescued his dad and the other prisoners. He shouts over that they are coming to back him up because that is what friends do. But Changzi, surrounded, yells back for them to save his aunt first, insisting he has got this handled. Jiang Kun just laughs, revealing he knew the rescue was their real goal all along. That smug tone immediately sets off alarm bells for Changzi, who knows a trap when he hears one. And sure enough, Liu Zia sees his dad and the others are all coughing up black blood. They have been poisoned. Changzi's eyes narrow, confirming his worst suspicions about this whole setup. This big boss Fan Dahu steps forward, gloating that he has been guarding against this exact move. He reveals that Zhao Zhiji was just a disposable pawn sent to test Changzi's skills. Then he tells Jiang Kun to call off his clones, wanting to have a little chat with the kid himself. Fan Dahu gives our boy a condescending compliment, flanked by Jiang Kun's shadow clones. He then offers Changzi a promotion to replace the guy he just killed. All he has to do is sell out his friends. Meanwhile, Liu Ze explains this was supposed to be their family's fight, not Chengxi's problem at all. As the poison continues to rack the rebels with agonizing pain, overwhelmed with guilt, Liu Ze admits they're just dragging his best friend down with them, while the administrator just looms over the scene, enjoying every second of this moral dilemma. Liu Ze knows forcing Chengxi to stay means certain death for him too, and his dad agrees, telling him not to make their families mess Chengxi's funeral. With a heavy heart, Liu Ze tells his father he understands what must be done, tearfully screaming at Chengxi to drop his weapon and save himself. But Chengxi just stands there, reminding him that they are brothers and this is not up for debate. His friend desperately pleads with him not to throw away his life and his best weapon, while Fan Dahu smirks, assuming the kid knows the rules of the apocalypse: you bow down to survive. Chengxi, however, is having none of it, roaring that the administrator is talking absolute bullshit. Declaring his sister taught him better than to betray the people who took him in. His new plan is brutally simple: if he just kills every single one of these guys, then everyone gets to walk away alive, problem solved. Liu Ze can only watch in stunned silence as his friend charges headfirst into the enemy lines. Concluding that Chengxi is just a noble idiot, Fan Dahu gleefully orders his men to kill them all. Jiang Kun eagerly volunteers for the job, promising to bring back Chengxi's head as a souvenir. Jiang Kun lunges forward with pure killing intent, vowing to end Chengxi right here and now. Our boy just smirks, activating a new word attribute for a 30% strength boost. What a coincidence, he has the same idea. Their blades collide in a massive explosion of energy, sending a shockwave through the entire room. Chengxi immediately finds himself surrounded, forced to parry attacks from the Enforcer and his two shadow clones. This vicious hound is completely floored, realizing he is somehow being overpowered by the kid's sudden surge in strength. He is totally confused, thinking the fire enchantment was the main ability, not this insane power-up. Concluding that Chengxi was hiding his true power for a one-hit kill, he calls him a dirty little trickster. Chengxi leaps back to create some distance, but Jiang Kun taunts him that it is still not enough to win. Knowing this 3-on-1 fight is a losing battle, our boy desperately tries to come up with a new plan. Seeing him vulnerable in midair, the administrator's men order their archers to shoot him down. One of the goons with a crossbow takes careful aim, ready to turn Chengxi into a human pincushion. A whole volley of arrows comes flying right at him while he is completely exposed. He manages to deflect a few, noting these guys are well-trained and physically enhanced, not just random thugs. Trapped in the air, he knows he cannot dodge and there are way too many arrows to block them all. This archers cheer, thinking they have got him, and start aiming for his head to finish the job. But in a slick parkour move, Chengxi uses the arrows stuck in the ground as platforms to stay airborne. He is caught in a bind. If he throws his sword to take out the shooters, Jiang Kun's clones will gut him. Then a confident grin spreads across his face as he recognizes incoming backup. It is Liu Ze. His brother-in-arms is ready with his slingshot, telling Chengxi to trust him to clear a path. And with a massive splash, 2 water projectiles hit a shield, creating a wall of mist that blocks the arrows perfectly. This archers immediately realize this is not just mist, it is another smoke bomb and something is very wrong with it. Turns out Liu Ze weaponized lime to stink their eyes, forcing the crossbowmen to target him instead. Chengxi smirks, knowing his buddy has been cooking up these kinds of dirty tricks for a while now. With the grunts distracted, Jiang Kun's 2 shadow clones lunge straight for our boy. Chengxi immediately clocks that these are not just afterimages, they are solid physical avatars. His new plan is brutally simple: take down one of the clones first to even the odds. But his blade just phases through it and the clone lands a solid kick, feeling absolutely no pain. He realizes just wounding them is pointless, he has to completely destroy them to make it count. Going for broke, Chengxi unleashes a massive horizontal slash meant to cleave the avatar in 2, and it works. The shadow clone dissipates into nothing, much to the real Jiang Kun's shock. This enforcer absolutely loses it, screaming Chengxi's name in a fit of pure rage. Knowing that killing the clones hurts the main body, Chengxi keeps moving to press his advantage. Up on a ledge, however, the administrator's lackeys spot him and take aim once again. I feels his strength enhancement fading, he is on the clock and running out of time. With a furious battle cry, he carves a glowing path of destruction straight through the remaining grunts. Jiang Kun finally stands before him, smugly declaring that the little rat is finally cornered. He is furious that one of his avatars is gone, vowing to crush Chengxi before he can recover. Our boy braces himself, facing down the real deal and his last remaining shadow clone. Their blades meet in a shower of sparks, but a system window pops up, his strength boost just expired. Jiang Kun's grin is pure evil, taunting that he felt the power vanish from the kid's blade. Jiang Kun and his clone dive in for the kill, gloating that Chengxi's out of juice. With a psycho grin, the enforcer screams that victory is his, a little premature, buddy. Chengxi just looks up, completely unfazed, and asks, "Is that so?" Then a new system window pops up. Our boy just activated a custom 450% strength boost. Glowing with raw power, he effortlessly parries the 2-pronged attack, shattering their confidence. Jiang Kun is absolutely bug-eyed, unable to process how the kid got even stronger than before. Now it is Chengxi's turn to taunt, asking if the vicious hound can handle a real strike. He unleashes a devastating golden slash that just tears right through the enforcer's guard, and with a cold stare he confirms, "Seems like you could not handle it." A system notification confirms it. Vicious hound slain, as Chengxi stands victorious. This shockwave from the final blow ripples through the room, stunning the onlookers. Liu Zi can only stare in disbelief, realizing his friend just took down the settlement's executioner. Even the other rebels are floored, feeling a spark of hope as they wonder when this kid became a one-man army. Up on his perch, Fan Dahu's face darkens, clearly not thrilled his top dog just got put down. Changzi points his blade at the big boss, calmly declaring that he is next on the list. He tells the administrator it is time to pay for all the suffering he has caused over the years. Fan Dahu just laughs, acting like he is some benevolent leader who has only killed a few people. To prove how necessary he is, he starts kicking a downed woman who appears to be Liu Zi's mother. Enraged, Liu Zi aims his slingshot, his eye glowing with power as he screams at the scumbag to stop, and he fires a glowing projectile straight at the administrator's smug face. But Fan Dahu just snatches the projectile out of the air, mocking Liu Zi's pathetic attempt. Liu Zi is floored. That shot was enchanted to find weak points, a trick even Changzi would struggle with. With a cloud of dust swirling around him, the administrator offers to teach the boy a lesson. And then he blitzes forward to give a hands-on demonstration of what real power feels like. The sheer speed and violent force of the attack leaves Liu Zi completely paralyzed with fear. In a flash of light, the big boss lands a devastating blow that sends him flying. Changzi immediately shouts a new plan, telling his friend to keep using smoke bombs to distract the level 10 monster. He is dead serious, knowing they have to use every dirty trick they have got just to survive this. With a nod, Liu Zi gets back up and they both charge in for a desperate two-pronged assault, which ends instantly as Fan Dahu grabs Liu Zi by the throat and lifts him off the ground. This administrator is genuinely annoyed, complaining that a pest is interrupting his proper duel. Seeing his brother captured, Changzi screams his name in a fit of pure rage, and he lunges forward with a new green glowing blade, clearly activating another word attribute. Fan Dahu blocks the slash with his bare arm, finally admitting the kid has some serious power. But he immediately follows it up with a condescending lecture about how Changzi's low level makes him worthless. From the ground, Liu Zi realizes his friend's physical strength now surpasses that of the wild boar boss. This administrator tries another recruitment pitch, offering an equal position now that his old goons are dead. Changzi furiously rejects him, screaming that he just replaces good people with more villains like himself. His rant continues, calling out how the entire settlement is built on oppression and robbery by his lackeys. Standing his ground, he makes it crystal clear he would never conspire with a monster like Fan Dahu. Fan Dahu just scoffs at Changzi's little hero complex, clearly not buying the act, and surrounded by crackling energy, he promises to grant that wish by sending him to his grave. This administrator starts lecturing him, saying the kid has no idea how cruel this world really is, justifying his iron-fisted rule as the only thing keeping the settlement safe while landing a solid punch. Then the big boss activates his own word attribute, getting a massive 50% boost to health and defense. So in response, I activates his flame enchantment, ready for a showdown of buffs. This administrator keeps ranting, framing his protection racket as a totally fair business deal, and he scoffs at the very idea of altruism, basically calling Liu Zi's dad a complete idiot. A flashback reveals Liu Zi's dad, always coming home battered and bruised from protecting everyone. But he'd just brush it off, flexing and calling his wounds medals for being the town hero. Of course, that same heroism ultimately got him killed, leaving everyone to mourn in the rain. Fan Dahu then reveals his own father was a selfless protector, a fool he has zero intention of ever emulating, and he lunges at Changzi, mocking him for wanting to follow that same foolish, heroic path. Screaming at the top of his lungs, he declares how much he despises people with a hero complex. His face twisted with pure contempt for the very idea of self-sacrifice. Fan Dahu tells him to go be a hero in the underworld, but Changzi just steels himself for the attack, and their attacks collide in a massive explosion, shaking the entire area with raw power. Changzi realizes the boss's buff is purely defensive, deciding to reset all his cooldowns for one last push. And a system window confirms it, his refresh skill works, resetting all of his ability cooldowns instantly. He immediately pops another strength boost, taunting the boss as he gets a 300% power-up for 45 minutes. Fan Dahu is completely losing his mind, unable to process how the kid is still powering up. He scrambles for an explanation, wondering if Changzi just awakened some new burst-type skill. But our boy's system window confirms it is a custom skill, now at a casual 450% strength boost for 3 minutes. Changzi comes down like a meteor, his flaming blade crashing against the administrator's defense. The sheer force of the blow has Fan Dahu's entire body shaking. He is actually getting overpowered. With another massive clash, the boss gets shoved back, his smug confidence finally starting to crack. He starts doing the math and realizes a single word attribute should not be this broken, especially from a level 8. To make things worse, the flames from the sword are literally sticking to him, a nasty little bonus effect. Knowing he is on the losing end of a straight fight, Fan Dahu decides it is time to switch to plan B, be a coward. His eyes lock onto Liu Zi on the ground, seeing not a person but a convenient meat shield. In a desperate move, he pops his own Valor attribute for a measly 30% strength buff. He is trying. Changzi immediately clocks the difference, realizing his own power-up completely eclipses the boss's pathetic boost. Seeing his advantage, he goes all in, deciding to end this fight right here and now. He brings the flaming sword down in a massive arc, aiming to cleave the administrator in two, but Fan Dahu just grins, deciding to tank the hit to create an opening for his new, scummier plan. Changzi is stunned for a second. The guy did not even try to block the attack. Turns out the boss just sacrificed his own arm to get past the blade, lunging straight for Liu Zi. In a flash, he grabs Changzi's defenseless friend by the head. Hoisting Liu Zi up, he complains about the pain while admitting it was the only way to pull this off. And now we are in a hostage situation, with the boss threatening to snap Liu Zi's neck unless Changzi surrenders. Changzi is absolutely disgusted, calling out the boss for stooping to such a scummy hostage tactic. Fan Dao just grins, threatening to snap Liu Zi's neck unless our boy drops the sword immediately. This puts Changzi in a hell of a bind, lose his power-up in the fight or lose his best friend. He is completely frozen, trying to find a way out of this no-win situation. But from the sidelines, one of the wounded rebels speaks up, asking Fan Dahu why he is doing all this. This administrator just scoffs, callously suggesting the rebellion is only for the man's precious son. But the rebel clarifies it is because everyone felt indebted to Fan Dahu's father, not him. That name clearly strikes a nerve, wiping the smug look right off the administrator's face. A flashback reveals his dad was a legendary hero who single-handedly defended the entire settlement. This man explains how his father sacrificed himself to stop plunderers from a rival settlement, number 119. They tolerated Fan Dahu's awful rule because they hoped he'd eventually live up to his father's legacy. But then the rebel reveals he overheard a little secret a year ago that changed everything. Turns out Fan Dahu's grand plan was to drain this place dry and then abandon it to join settlement number 119. This rebel was completely shattered when he overheard the plan to leave everyone for dead. He furiously calls out the administrator for planning to join the very people who got his father killed. Fan Dahu absolutely snaps, screaming that his dad deserved to die for being a foolish hero. He has zero intention of being a martyr, instead planning to use this place to climb the ladder. Back in the present, he starts a countdown from 3, demanding Changzi drop his weapon. This count hits 3 and Changzi is still paralyzed, his face a mask of pure anguish. Just as the boss shouts 2, a convoy of trucks from Settlement 119 rolls up. Well, this just got complicated. Fan Dahu's face lights up. It is his cavalry from Settlement 119, and he gleefully tells Changzi he is finished. He immediately starts screaming for backup, introducing himself and asking them to help deal with the rebels. Sure enough, a whole convoy barrels forward, kicking up dust and ready to completely crash the party. Out jump a squad of well-armed mercs, clearly a major upgrade from the last batch of goons. Our boy is in a total bind, knowing he cannot abandon Liu Zi even if it is a suicide mission. Then a new player steps onto the scene, a stylish white-haired guy who immediately dismisses Changzi's strength. This administrator is absolutely giddy, thinking his new numbers advantage means an easy win. This newcomer, Administrator Jiang Mimi of Settlement 119, strolls in with an air of total authority. In a flash, Fan Dahu drops his hostage and bows, showing his true colors as a total sycophant. This groveling continues, with him acting like it is a huge honor for the big boss to come get him personally. Wasting no time, Ai rushes to Liu Zi, relieved to find his friend is still alive. This betrayal sinks in for our boy. Fan Dahu sold out his own people to his father's murderers. He sizes up the new administrator, realizing this guy is on a whole other level and the fight is hopeless. This new boss cuts him off, demanding to know where someone is with a casual threat of head crushing. Still smiling like an idiot, Fan Dahu promises to find anyone, completely missing the I do not know you vibe. And then Jiang Mimi asks the million-dollar question, is there a Zhao Cheng around here? Without a second of hesitation, Fan Dahu rats out our boy, pointing to him as the leader of the rebellion. Internally, the scumbag is celebrating, completely convinced that with Jiang here, Changzi's fate is sealed. This new boss just calmly smokes, processing the news that this kid is trying to take over the settlement. Desperate to play the victim, Fan Dahu points to his missing arm, begging the new administrator for payback. This new boss, Jiang Mimi, calmly asks our boy if he is the infamous Zhao Cheng. With zero hesitation, Changzi confirms his identity, ready for whatever comes next. Jiang Mimi inspects Fan Dahu's stump, wondering how a level 10 administrator got his arm lopped off by a kid. Panicking, the one-armed traitor tries to warn him about Changzi's insane power-ups, but Jiang just shuts him up permanently with a glowing blue hand to the face, ending his career on the spot. A quick flashback confirms the mission. Verify Changzi, then eliminate the now useless Fan Dahu. Standing over the body, the newcomer announces the trash has been taken out, so now they can finally talk business. Changzi is completely stunned, realizing this guy was not here to help Fan Dahu at all. Turns out Jiang is actually here on a high-level order to find and assist Zhao Cheng. Our boy stays on guard, demanding to know why he should trust this sudden, convenient ally. Amused by his caution, Jiang Mimi reaches into his coat to pull out some proof. And he presents a small, familiar-looking object, confident this will clear things up. Changzi immediately recognizes it. It is Guanju's perception pointer, meaning she sent this cavalry. His mind reels, realizing Guanju is way more powerful than he ever imagined, able to command other administrators. On top of that, Jiang announces that their mutual friend also sent over a few gifts, as his men start unloading actual supplies for the starving settlement: meat, fish, and flour. This new administrator then explains Fan Dahu was never legit without the official settlement certificate, which he now offers directly to Changzi, making him the new official boss of this place. Staring at the certificate, our boy realizes the very thing the rebels died for is now in his hands. Even the wounded survivors agree, telling him to take it because he is the only one fit to lead them now. Changzi accepts the leadership role, vowing to repay Guanju for pulling all these strings. Meanwhile, Jiang Mimi orders his medics to start treating the wounded, playing the part of the helpful ally. Then he reveals their mutual friend has one more gift for Changzi, though it is entirely his choice to accept. Our boy is immediately on guard, demanding to know what this new offer is. This invitation is to participate in a trial at Settlement 119, which sounds suspiciously like a death trap. Passing this test, he explains, is the only way to get an opportunity to join the company. And we get a quick history lesson about the post-apocalyptic world, setting the stage for something big. Turns out the entire continent is run by the Brahma Company, and joining is basically like ascending to godhood. This megacorp provides everything from food and shelter to power-ups, all from a giant, ominous skyscraper. Jiang lays out the options: join the elites or stay behind as the administrator of this tiny settlement. This choice is entirely up to Changzi, and this new guy is perfectly happy to wait for his answer. This is a gut punch for our boy. His sister was taken by the company, making this his only lead to find her. While he is having his internal crisis, Jiang's medics are actually tending to Liu Zia and the other rebels. But the survivors remind him that he is their leader now, and these people desperately need someone to guide them. Jiang gives him 2 days to decide, because apparently the corporate ladder has a very tight schedule. With a determined smile, it looks like Changzi has already made up his mind. As Jiang's crew leaves, one of his subordinates wonders how a backwater kid got connected to someone so important. This same guy, Enforcement Lee, is already plotting to use Changzi as a stepping stone for his own career. Later that night, the entire settlement gathers around a bonfire for an important meeting. This lead rebel announces that everyone is here, waiting to hear from their new leader. Changzi stands before the entire settlement, ready to make his big announcement around the campfire. This lead rebel hypes him up, declaring that everyone agrees Changzi is the only one fit to be their leader. But our boy immediately tries to pass the buck, offering the leadership certificate to the rebel Uncle Liu. Liu Zia and his sister are completely stunned, arguing the settlement needs a strong protector, not an old man. He explains his real mission is to find his sister, so he cannot stay and lead them forever. This townsfolk actually start to see his point, murmuring that the more experienced Uncle Liu might be a better choice. Then Uncle Liu drops a heavy question, asking what is to stop him from becoming a tyrant just like Fan Dahu. That one hits home, as everyone remembers Fan Dahu's heroic father could not stop his son from being a monster. With everyone's attention locked, Uncle Liu decides it is time to reveal his actual plan for their future. He whips out a book on law, proposing they govern themselves with rules instead of just one leader. What a concept. Turns out, the rebels already drafted 15 laws in secret to keep any future administrator in check. This crowd is totally on board, realizing a system of laws is way more reliable than one person's whims. Even Liu Zia is impressed, admitting that Uncle Liu clearly has the brains for this kind of thing. So Changzi officially leaves the settlement certificate behind, entrusting them to their new democracy. With that finally settled, he feels free to head out on his personal quest to find his sister. He walks off toward the trucks, thinking this next part of the journey is going to be a solo mission. But he is stopped dead in his tracks by Liu Zia, who is not about to let him ghost everybody. His buddy calls him out, saying he is way too naive to survive out there alone without getting scammed. Changzi cracks a smile, touched that his friend came all this way just to see him off. Oh, he is not here to say goodbye. Liu Zia announces he is coming with him because that is what bros do. Changzi gives his buddy the side-eye, asking if his parents actually signed off on this little adventure. Of course not. Liu Zia puffs out his chest, admitting he just snuck out with a note. Solid plan. He is also motivated by a girl he plans to marry once he is rich and famous, which is adorable. Our boy just tells him to hurry back, probably thinking this is the dumbest idea he has ever heard. But his friend is not taking no for an answer, grabbing his cape to stop him from leaving. He then gets all poetic, comparing Changzi to a mythical bird destined for greatness. With the image of a soaring rock, Liu Zia declares he wants to fly just as high. Liu Zia is not content being a nobody, and he is ready to follow his friend into the unknown. This whole thing has lit a fire in his soul. He is officially hyped for the journey. Changzi glances back, a little taken aback by this sudden burst of ride-or-die loyalty. As they walk, Liu Zia throws down some friendly trash talk, betting Changzi will be the first to cry. From inside a truck, a new blue-haired guy with a ponytail lights a smoke, watching the two friends. This blue-haired subordinate, now suddenly wearing an eye patch, smirks that the wind is about to rise. And with that, the convoy rolls out, heading for Settlement 119 under the full moon. Inside, the purple-haired goon, Enforcement Lee, starts buttering them up about how much Jiang values them. He is already scheming though, thinking Liu Zia's attachments make him a weak link. Sensing his friend is down, Changzi decides to change the subject with a very pointed question. Lee turns with a smug grin, asking if our boy is talking to him, ready to show off. Changzi cuts right to the chase, asking if their boss from 119 killed the administrator of Settlement 2269. And just like that, Lee's smug attitude evaporates into pure sweaty panic. He has been caught completely off guard. Liu Zia is having a full-on meltdown over how dense his friend is, completely killing the conversation. But Enforcement Lee actually starts spilling the beans, saying Jiang does not kill rivals like that. He explains their boss focuses on building up the settlement, making it a much better place to live. So basically everyone loves the guy because he is a competent leader who gets things done. Changzi's big takeaway from this is kill the boss, become the boss, a solid career plan. Both his friend and the goon look like they have completely lost all hope for him. Then our boy's senses kick in, warning him that mutated beasts are closing in fast. And sure enough, a whole pack of monsters is stalking their convoy from the cliffs above. These things are massive, bloody, and look absolutely ready to tear them apart. I calmly corrects everyone that they are just mutated dogs because wolves are not this dumb. Dumb or not, the dogs are already swarming the trucks, climbing right up the sides. Lee just smirks, telling them not to worry because Administrator Jiang is on a whole other level. Inside his own car, Jiang Mimi casually tells his subordinate to cover his ears. He takes a deep breath, about to unleash some serious power, and a freaking flaming tiger head manifests as he lets out a roar. His Beast King's roar ability activates a gold-level word attribute as he screams at them to get lost. A massive golden shockwave just obliterates the entire pack, sending dogs flying everywhere. Ai is blown away, realizing this guy has a powerful sonic-type ability. Even Liu Ze can barely handle the sound, totally stunned by this display of strength. Meanwhile, Lee is just screaming about how awesome his boss is, having the time of his life. With the dog problem solved, Lee is still gushing about how his boss's power works wonders on dumb animals. Inside the lead car, Jiang's deputy Bai Rong gives him a little side-eye for showing off to an important contact. But Jiang could not care less, smugly asking if Changzi is going to run and tattle on him. This guy then complains about hating people who take shortcuts. Oh, the absolute irony. Bai Rong tries to be the voice of reason, but Jiang just promises to manage Changzi in private. He explains that as long as he is useful to the higher-ups, they will let him get away with anything. Their convoy finally rolls into Settlement 119, which looks way more civilized than home. Guards are already lined up at the entrance, welcoming their administrator back from his trip. Bai Rong leads our boys to their temporary lodging, explaining all the good houses are taken. And by lodging, he means a dusty shack, which Liu Ze declares an upgrade, less wind. Then Bai Rong hands over the official instructions for their upcoming company trial. He makes sure to mention that there will be plenty of other participants joining them. Liu Ze is just happy it is written down, while Changzi immediately faceplants onto a bed. This is Bai Rong wondering if the VIP's pretty boy is really this unfussy. He leaves them to it, telling them to call the guard outside if they need anything. Liu Ze reads the mission. Clear a simple, low-level dungeon sounds like a total cakewalk. From his bed, Changzi asks the real question: how many people actually get hired? His buddy checks the paper again, realizing that crucial detail is not mentioned at all. Changzi immediately deduces the unspoken rule: it is not just killing the boss, it is outlasting the other players. And Liu Ze's face drops, understanding that this trial is actually a battle royale to the death. Lying in bed, Changzi realizes his kill the boss plan might have a few minor complications. Then his thoughts drift to a mysterious purple-haired woman who seems to be on his mind a lot. Liu Ze immediately calls him out for being lovesick, because that is what best friends are for. He then tucks our boy in, telling him to rest up for their big corporate murder audition tomorrow. His buddy continues the lecture, giving him some very unsolicited advice on controlling his teenage hormones. In his own bed, Liu Ze gets serious, thinking about how some people are just in a different league. Changzi has had enough of the commentary, bluntly telling his friend to shut up and sleep. Finally, Liu Ze drifts off, dreaming of the high life they will have after joining the company. Meanwhile, Bai Rong is reporting to Jiang that Changzi does not seem to hold any grudges, though he admits the kid could just be an expert at hiding his true feelings. Jiang is not worried, saying the company's examiner arrives tomorrow to see what Changzi's really made of. His deputy then asks the big question: why does he care so much about this random kid? Turns out Jiang sees a reflection of his younger self in Changzi, a talented rebel who fought tyranny, but there is one major difference. Changzi has a powerful connection while he had to claw his way up alone. He smirks, admitting he might just be a little jealous of the kid's easy mode start. Bai Rong seems skeptical that it is just a case of simple professional envy. This next morning arrives, bringing with it the dawn of their first official corporate death game. A huge crowd of hopefuls gathers before a swirling blue dungeon entrance. The trial is about to begin. One of the organizers explains that while power-up stones are nice, actual survivors are the real prize. These rules are brutally simple: stay alive and clear the dungeon, no pressure or anything. Bai Rong lays out the deal: survive the dungeon, get a job, and the benefits are so good he will not even bother listing them. He wishes everyone good luck, but his gaze locks right onto Changzi with a very pointed stare. Liu Ze immediately picks up on the vibe, whispering that Jiang is definitely trying to provoke them. This rest of the crowd could not care less, stampeding into the portal for that sweet free XP. His friend is totally baffled by the power play, but Changzi just figures they will get the answer soon enough. Liu Ze calls him out for acting so confident after admitting he has no idea what is going on, a classic Changzi move. Meanwhile, on a nearby rooftop, two mysterious observers watch the cannon fodder march into the cave. A well-dressed butler advises his miss to stay hidden, warning that her master would be displeased. This cloaked woman agrees, revealing she is the official examiner here to scope out the situation in advance. Inside, the dungeon is a massive, eerie cavern, and our boys are just two faces in a very large crowd. Up ahead, one team's brilliant strategy is to just pick the left path because it feels lucky, cannot argue with that logic. At their own fork in the road, Liu Ze turns to his friend for some actual guidance. Before Changzi can answer, a hand claps down on his shoulder from behind. And it is a super cheery guy with purple hair, thrilled to have finally caught up with them. Oh great, it is the truck driver from the convoy who is also here to try and secure a future for his family. He immediately suggests they team up and watch each other's backs in this death trap. Liu Ze starts sending frantic telepathic signals to Changzi, basically screaming abort mission. His brain is going a mile a minute, convinced this guy is a spy or an assassin sent by Jiang. He is totally sure his bestie has received the message and is about to politely decline. Instead, Changzi agrees to the team-up, but only if the driver pays them 200 supply tickets. Our boy's a businessman now. Liu Ze is still having a silent freakout over his friend's business deal, a classic case of buyer's remorse. But the driver is thrilled, happily agreeing to the price since his salary can totally cover it. As they move deeper into the cave, they are being watched by a mysterious figure clinging to the wall. It is a girl with green pigtails who immediately senses Changzi's rare radiant word attribute. With their new member secured, the trio officially forms up to take on the dungeon. Their first order of business is to navigate the dark and winding caverns ahead. From her hiding spot, the girl watches them establish a pecking order, with Changzi as the reluctant boss. She knows teaming up with him is her best shot at survival, but she is way too shy to approach. Thinking of her family and settlement waiting for her, she steals her resolve to be brave. Meanwhile, Liu Ze complains that their new teammate has already gotten them lost and left behind. This driver sheepishly admits he has never been here because he heard it was way too dangerous. Great leadership. Liu Ze tries to play it cool, declaring that fighting monsters head-on is exactly his style anyway. While the driver is totally buying the tough guy act, Changzi knows it is pure, unadulterated bluffing. Suddenly, our boy's senses go on high alert, warning the others that something is coming. He has already got his hand on his blade as his two companions finally realize the danger. This green-haired girl panics, thinking they have spotted her and trying to figure out what to say. But it is not her. Glowing eyes appear all around them, on the ground and on the walls. A pack of monstrous steel claw rats emerges from the darkness, ready to swarm them. Our girl lets out a huge sigh of relief, glad they were worried about monsters and not her social awkwardness. Changzi immediately takes command, telling the others to handle the small fry while he takes on the big one. This driver immediately objects to Changzi's plan, pointing out they are way too weak to survive this. So Changzi asks for a better idea, and Liu Ze decides it is his time to be the strategist. He launches into a lecture on ancient horse racing tactics, a truly foolproof plan, no doubt. His whole superior horse versus inferior horse bit has the driver completely baffled and dizzy. Liu Ze clarifies that superior just means high level and inferior means low level, and then he proudly declares himself the inferior horse of the group. What an honor. Just then the massive, chained-up rat boss appears and Liu Ze's confidence evaporates instantly. Changzi just asks you fight it, which is enough for his buddy to abandon his own genius plan. With that settled, the whole pack of monstrous rats comes charging right at them. Our boy draws his blade, noting this level 8 beast is way stronger than the last boss he fought. Armed with a slingshot, Liu Ze tells the driver to cover him while he aims for the eyes. He actually lands a solid hit, knocking one of the smaller rats clean out of the air. This driver yells for him to fall back and create some distance from the swarm, but Liu Ze is determined not to be a burden to Changzi like he was before. He stands his ground, parrying a direct attack from one of the smaller monsters. Meanwhile, the boss rat activates its bronze-level word attribute, buffing its damage and speed. Changzi is stunned, realizing this thing is way more dangerous than he thought. This powered-up beast lunges forward, its claws glowing with a menacing blue light. Not to be outdone, Ai activates his own flame enchantment, ready for a showdown, and he meets the monster's charge head-on, his flaming sword clashing against its claws. With his flame power blazing, Changzi realizes this buffed-up boss is no longer a threat to him. This system confirms the kill and even throws in a 75% experience bonus. Talk about a nice perk. After checking his own progress, he decides he needs to go help his much weaker friends. Meanwhile, the driver is giving Liu Ze a piggyback ride while they flee for their lives, a tactical retreat. Changzi is almost impressed they are holding on, dryly noting the driver is just doing his job, literally. But then he notices the rats chasing them are suspiciously slow compared to the boss he just fought. He spots their wrinkled noses and figures out someone's secretly messing with their sense of smell. Since this mystery person is helping, he assumes they're not an immediate enemy, which is a relief. His new plan is simple: kill the last two rats, then go find their secret guardian angel for answers. Back with the B team, Liu Ze uses a skill to pinpoint the monster's weak spots with his slingshot. His shots land perfectly, causing the two remaining rats to screech in absolute agony. Even the driver is impressed, giving his little buddy props for his surprisingly good aim. Liu Ze immediately gets a big head, bragging that his gold-level attribute makes this all too easy. This rat suddenly stop their pursuit, squeaking angrily at each other instead of attacking. This sudden halt leaves Liu Ze completely confused about why they have given up the chase. Then the two monsters start furiously digging into the cavern floor, kicking up dust and rock. His face drops as he realizes they are about to burrow for a classic sneak attack. His new teammate, however, is still completely lost, asking what is even happening. Liu Ze grabs the driver, screaming at him to run because they are about to get ambushed from below. But it is way too late, a massive claw bursts from the ground right behind them. These two are completely cornered, with one rat bursting from the ground and another diving from the ceiling. Our driver immediately panics about his family jewels, more scared of his wife than the actual monsters. From her hiding spot, the green-haired girl realizes they are about to get wiped out, so she activates her special gold-level attribute, Scent Manipulation, to intervene. Suddenly, the rats are overwhelmed by a horrible stench, completely disoriented by the smell. Changzi sees the opening and yells for his team to get ready to move, and with a single fiery slash, he completely obliterates both of the remaining monsters. This system confirms the kills, but our boy knows these small-time mobs will not be enough to level up. Their driver is crying tears of joy, calling Changzi his hero, while Liu Zia just calls him a wimp. Then Liu Zia gets a surprise notification he has just hit level 5. He celebrates his new level while Changzi calls out their secret helper to show herself. His two companions are totally lost, asking what friend he is even talking about. This green-haired girl steps out from the shadows, admitting that he has found her. Liu Zia immediately tries to save face, pretending he knew she was there all along, a master of deception clearly. But the driver instantly calls him on his bluff since he was just as clueless moments ago. Changzi calmly tells the girl not to worry since anyone who helps them is not an enemy. He even thanks her for the assist, formally putting them in her debt. His friends, however, are still playing catch-up, completely unaware of how she helped. So Changzi explains she is the reason the rats slowed down, saving them from getting seriously hurt. This driver has a tearful realization. This girl did not just save them, she saved his entire future lineage. Changzi gives her the classic "let us stay in touch" line, promising future help as a polite brush-off. With that settled, the driver literally drags Liu Zia away while our boy gives a casual farewell wave. But Hua Xiaoman knows this is a golden opportunity she cannot just let slip away. So she summons all her courage and nervously asks if she can please come with them. Liu Zia immediately starts gossiping about Changzi's magnetic charm while the driver argues they owe her for the save. Our boy, however, is laser-focused on the mission, knowing the boss ahead is a genuine death sentence. She quickly explains she is also here for the job and is not afraid to die for her family back home. In fact, she says failing to provide for them would be a fate far worse than death. And with that, she gives a full desperate bow, begging them to let her join the team. Changzi's response is a swift and brutal "sorry, no, ice cold." His friends are completely floored by the rejection, with Liu Zia wondering what the hell just happened. Hua Xiaoman is just as stunned, asking him to at least explain why he is turning her away. He lays out the logic: he cannot protect her, she'd become a target, and she is better off asking someone else for help. She is worried he just thinks she is too weak to keep up. But Changzi clarifies her ability is way better than his two companions, a compliment and a savage burn all in one. Liu Zia is absolutely fuming at the insult, while the driver just sadly accepts that, yeah, they are pretty weak. Understanding his reasoning, she thanks him for his honesty and walks off into the darkness alone. Liu Zia immediately starts teasing him, guessing he is so loyal to some rich girl he'd turned down a new ally. As Changzi heads deeper into the cave, he tells his friend that he is not actually weak, and Liu Zia puffs up his chest, pretending he totally knew that all along. This driver is having a whole philosophical moment about loyalty, impressed by their bromance. He is still trying to figure out Liu Zia's deal, wondering if he is just some rich girl's boy toy. Liu Zia, meanwhile, asks Changzi why he let the driver tag along after ditching the girl, and Changzi just casually reveals the driver is a plant from Jiangmimi, blowing his friend's mind. His logic is that sending a trusted subordinate means their boss is actually taking this seriously. Still reeling from the news, Liu Zia cannot quite wrap his head around the motive. While deep in thought, he completely trips over something on the cavern floor, real smooth. What he tripped over is a horribly mangled corpse, which is a great way to snap back to reality. This driver instantly recognizes her as a powerful level 9 from his settlement, totally panicking. His immediate conclusion is that the monsters in here are on a whole other level of deadly. But Changzi notices the fatal wound was not from a monster, but a human weapon. Looking further, they find a whole pile of bodies. It is a full-blown massacre. This driver is horrified to see it is the entire team, which even had a level 10 member. Changzi figures it out. They were ambushed by other humans after fighting monsters. He then drops another bomb on the driver. The killers were from his own settlement. This revelation of internal strife leaves the poor guy completely stunned and speechless. Just then, a massive drill-like object starts tearing through the ceiling right above them. A horrifying level 10 elite rat monster emerges, and the driver thinks it is the culprit. This beast continues its descent, its glowing drill aimed right for the team. Changzi shoves his teammate to safety, yelling for him to dodge the incoming attack. I blocks the massive blow, realizing this elite monster is just as strong as a previous boss. Meanwhile, a hidden observer watches the fight from the shadows, staying completely out of sight. Turns out it is two assassins planning to let the monster and Changzi's team fight it out, then clean up the survivors. Back in the fight, the drill-nosed rat monster looms over them, an absolute unit of a beast. Liu Zia is having a full-blown meltdown, screaming that this thing has no business being called a rat. Fair point, honestly. Our boy pieces it together, concluding the killers are cowards who wait for others to be weakened before they strike. He suspects the assassins are still watching, so he decides it is time to put on a little show. To avoid getting backstabbed during the real boss fight, he needs to bait these hidden vultures out right now. His plan involves using the monster's own horn as bait, pretending to spot a weak point to lure them in. It is a classic play-dead strategy his master taught him, perfect for drawing out opportunistic scavengers. At the same time, Liu Zi activates his weak point detection skill, telling Changzi to get ready for his signal. This skill highlights the monster's weak spot right on its forehead, giving them a crystal-clear target. But Changzi has to hold back. He needs to look like he is struggling, not one-shot the thing. He lands a flashy but weak hit with his flaming sword, intentionally leaving himself wide open for an attack. This monster takes the bait and smacks him hard, sending our boy tumbling to the ground, all part of the act. Seeing their opening, the assassins get ready to move, but Liu Zi fires his slingshot to create a distraction. His shots barely even scratch the monster, doing almost no damage but definitely getting its attention. Now thoroughly annoyed, the beast turns its glowing red eyes towards a strange crystal on the ground. Suddenly, the crystal shoots into the air, leaving Liu Zi and the driver staring up in total confusion. Then the monster launches itself after the crystal, completely ignoring them for the shiny new toy. Changzi keeps up the act, screaming for his friend to run while hoping his bait plan works. With the monster's attention fully on him, Liu Zi now faces a deadly drill attack head-on. He is not scared though, yelling that this pig-headed rat is going down for hurting his buddy. This driver makes a last-second save, tackling Liu Zi out of the way of the devastating blast. After they land, the driver calls him insane for trying to fight a level 10 monster all by himself. But Liu Zi is running on pure bro code, swearing he will not let the beast get away with it. His face is pure determination, while the driver looks like he is seriously regretting this job. His slingshot continues to do basically nothing, just chipping away for pathetic amounts of damage. This only makes the monster angrier, its horn glowing as it powers up for another attack, and it launches right for Liu Zi, who is once again the prime target for a giant drill. This driver grabs him for another piggyback ride, yelling that this officially repays his debt. Liu Zi is completely stunned by his speed, realizing the driver is way more powerful than he claimed. Surprised, the driver is actually level 10 with a gold-level speed ability, a detail he forgot to mention. Now riding on his back, Liu Zi gets ready to be a mobile attacker while the driver plays getaway car. This driver grins with confidence, telling him to just leave the dodging to the professional. They square up with the monster, Liu Zi taunting it to see whose attack is faster. His shots keep landing, making the beast even more furious with every tiny hit. But then he sees Changzi is losing a lot of blood, realizing he has to end this fight immediately. He reaches for another stone and finds his pouch is completely empty, a fantastic development. From the shadows, one of the assassins decides the show's over and prepares to intervene with a crystal. This assassin finally makes his move, tossing a crystal that zips right past the driver's leg. With Changzi still playing dead, the monster looms over him, ready to deliver the final blow. Liu Zi is screaming for his friend to get out of there, convinced they are totally done for. But then a massive fiery slash erupts from below, completely engulfing the giant rat. And just like that, Changzi stands over the defeated monster, having faked them all out. He turns to his friends, coolly saying he could not run while they were still in danger. It was all a performance. Looking weak was the only way to bait the hidden assassins. His companions are absolutely floored, with the driver realizing this kid is a tactical monster. Our boy just sits down, explaining the kill will level him up to 8 and patch up his injuries. This system confirms it. A massive 75% X bonus from his attribute sends him flying up the ranks. Leveling up also triggers his special codex, offering him a choice of new gold-level skills. He is presented with 3 options, all part of a super rare independent research series. Picking the final piece of the set, he knows it is about to unlock a powerful attribute fusion. This is a massive cheat code. He is getting a power that normally requires level 30 to even access. With the full set in his possession, he smashes the button to fuse them into something new. A wild light show erupts around him as the fusion kicks off, and he is ready for the results. Now fully healed from the level up, he turns his attention to some unresolved issues. Liu Zi is still eyeing the driver, trying to figure out his real angle for tagging along. This driver, meanwhile, offers Changzi some beef jerky, playing the part of a simple, helpful guy. But Liu Zi is done with the games, getting right in his face and demanding to know his real motive. This driver starts to confess something important, trailing off as he looks away. But he is interrupted by the 2 assassins, who decide it is the perfect time to strike. Sensing the ambush, the driver spins around, demanding to know who is there. And he immediately activates his super speed, narrowly dodging a storm of energy blades. While shielding Liu Zi, he recognizes the attackers, the notorious Lei brothers. These 2 are unbelievably smug, one holding a sword to his neck and complementing his speed. A system scan confirms they are both level 10 deputy administrators working for a faction called Highly. This driver is furious, accusing them of betraying their own settlement and killing their comrades. Watching from a safe distance, Changzi asks if these guys are old friends. Liu Zi clarifies they are from the same town but on the rival team working for this Highly person. And of course, Liu Zi has absolutely no idea who Highly is, top-tier situational awareness as always. This driver explains Highly is Jiang Mimi's political rival, a warmonger who is now a sworn enemy. Changzi immediately puts the pieces together, realizing Highly is the likely mastermind behind the whole conspiracy. If his theory holds, this guy is responsible for a massive slaughter and has a serious debt to pay. This Lei brothers just laugh it off, telling him dead men do not get to criticize their boss. Changzi tells his crew to just focus on surviving these two psychos for now. Before they can act, one of the brothers unleashes a giant spider web, sealing the cave entrance. This is a huge problem for the driver since the sticky web completely neutralizes his speed advantage. This brothers move in for the kill, smugly telling him to pick a better boss in his next life. But just as their blades are about to connect, Changzi grabs his teammates with a sudden apology. With a quick apology, Changzi just yanks his entire team down a massive chasm to escape. We are suddenly in a flashback where one of the Lei brothers tells the other to escape while he holds the line. He makes a final charge, yelling for his family to know he died with honor, a real heroic sacrifice. His brother swears vengeance, promising to kill their enemies and the one who betrayed them. Back in the present, the assassins are absolutely livid that their kill was interrupted by a sneak attack. They block the blow, realizing with shock that Changzi's power is way above the dungeon's level cap. One of them taunts our boy, asking why he is meddling in their business while so badly injured. Changzi just sits there looking half dead, but his expression is pure, unadulterated defiance. This brothers decide to just wait for him to bleed out, which is a great plan if your opponent is not the main character. But Changzi clarifies the driver is his friend now, so this is officially his problem too. This driver is so touched he is actually crying, finally convinced Changzi is a true talent. This assassin scoffs, telling them to get lost while they are in a good mood, which is obviously a lie. Getting to his feet, Changzi is joined by Liu Zi, who is all smiles and ready for a fight. Now it is a full-on stare-down, with both sides declaring they are in a bad mood and someone's about to get hurt. Deciding to deal with them first, one of the brothers unleashes a storm of glowing energy whips. This tendrils of light swarm around our heroes, trapping them as the assassins gloat. Before they fight, Changzi hits them with a weird question, asking if they know a Fan Dahu. And they do, confirming their boss highly sent them to make deals with that so-called idiot. Liu Zi is completely lost, as usual, wondering what kind of deals they could possibly mean. This assassin begins to explain how Fan Dahu promised them rare supplies, then hoarded them all like a fool. This assassin's backstory drops. Apparently Fan Dahu's people were tyrants who drove them to desperation. One of the Lei brothers smirks, saying all this trouble could have been avoided if they'd just known who was who. He then offers the driver a deal, ditch his current boss, join their settlement, and all will be forgiven. Liu Zi is absolutely not having it, powering up a crystal while blaming them for his grandmother's death. His shot gets casually deflected, with the assassin mocking him for being another weak stone thrower. Unfazed, Changzi just tells Liu Zi to get to work and call out their weak points. Liu Zi's skill activates, lighting up the assassins with multiple glowing red targets, a beautiful sight. He screams out the coordinates for a takedown, neck, heart, head, just hit him anywhere. And Changzi is a blur, lunging forward with enough speed to hit all three spots at once. This other brother panics, yelling for his partner to take out the weaker guy first, a solid, cowardly plan. But the big guy ignores him, deciding he is going to cut down the driver instead. This leaves the driver staring down an incoming blade, looking like he is about to have a very bad day. In a flash of golden light, Changzi intercepts and slices the guy down in an instant, one down. This remaining brother screams in pure shock as his partner falls. Changzi turns his ice-cold gaze on the last man standing, calmly telling him he is next. In a last-ditch effort, the assassin unleashes a spider silk ability to bind him. Glowing blue tendrils wrap around Changzi's limbs, seemingly trapping him completely. But our boy just activates his flame enchantment because a little glowing string is not on his list of concerns. With a massive burst of fire, he completely shatters the energy restraints. Standing over the defeated foe, Changzi just tells him he was way weaker than he imagined. Our boy explains his whole strategy. They underestimated him because he looked half dead, then he hit him with his new fusion power. And that fusion leveled up his 3 gold skills into a single, insane, transcendent technology attribute. While resting, Liu Zi roasts Changzi for his habit of picking up monster junk like a hoarder. I just offers to share the loot by stripping the dead assassin's clothes for his buddy, resourceful but creepy. This driver immediately objects, worried that wearing enemy colors will get them hunted down by Hailei's faction. Agreeing to keep the gear hidden, Changzi pulls out the giant rat's drill, mentioning he got a weird system prompt from it. His friends gather round, wondering if this drill is some kind of hidden treasure or special quest item. A system scan confirms it is a special key that unlocks the underground rat clan's secret treasury. Both Liu Zi and the driver are absolutely losing their minds, eyes sparkling at the thought of all that loot. But Changzi is already planning ahead, hoping the treasury has a better weapon for Liu Zi. Liu Zi is genuinely touched, also admitting to himself that his slingshot just is not cutting it anymore. With that settled, Changzi asks the driver if he wants to leave and report back to his boss about Hailei's movements. But the driver refuses, saying he cannot leave because Liu Zi is too weak and would just be a burden on Changzi. Liu Zi takes that personally, accusing the guy of mocking him to his face, and he is not entirely wrong. As Changzi tries to get them moving, Liu Zi starts quoting ancient proverbs about getting stronger and taking revenge. He is now in full-on protagonist mode, pointing to the sky and vowing to repay today's humiliation 100-fold. Changzi just deadpans, asking where he is getting all these fancy quotes from, clearly not impressed. Their bickering is cut short though when Liu Zi spots something just ahead in the cave. This path forward is littered with bodies, they have just stumbled upon a massive slaughter. This driver clarifies these victims are not from their settlement, they are outside adventurers who got wiped out. Changzi figures the Lei brothers were just the appetizer, and the real boss who wiped these guys out is still lurking. His new transcendent technology power conveniently boosts his hearing, letting him pick up sounds of a fight nearby. He motions for his crew to hang back, seeing a perfect opportunity to third-party someone else's problem. Peeking around the corner, they spot a 3-on-1 beatdown with a lone girl cornered by a rival team. This girl is desperately trying to hold them off with some kind of purple energy, but she is clearly struggling. This lead attacker, dressed in a stunning lack of practical cavewear, taunts her and says they are on a deadline for their boss. In what a small, violent world, Liu Zhe and the driver actually recognize her, shocked she is still alive. Her two male attackers lunge forward to finish the job, screaming at her as she stumbles backward. She is completely exhausted, her powers are failing, and all she can think about is how she failed to bring back food. In a moment of regret, she wishes she'd listened to Changzi's advice from earlier, a bit late for that now. With her guard completely down, the two killers swing their blades for the final blow, but a flash of golden light intercepts them as Changzi swoops in to play hero. He lands with a smirk, telling the girl to open her eyes because she is not dead yet. She looks up in absolute shock, realizing her savior is the same guy she met before. Our boy just tells her to get to safety because this time he is taking care of the trash himself. This leopard print lady seems completely unfazed that he just killed her henchman, and Changzi knows she is the real threat. She turns to him, casually complimenting his skills like they are just having a friendly chat. Then things get creepy as she makes a very suggestive gesture, which is just textbook villain behavior. Her word attribute activates and she forms a glowing heart, inviting him to play some fun games. Suddenly, Changzi is trapped in a pink aura and the girl he just saved screams a warning that this woman can control minds. And just like that, the mind control hits, instantly turning his two allies into puppets. This leopard print lady is furious, complaining that her dead henchmen ruined her stealthy approach. Watching from the sidelines, the girl he saved realizes the first two guys were also just puppets. Changzi's logic is simple and brutal: kill the caster, break the spell. She just smirks, taunting him about killing her while his friends are under her complete control. Our boy does not waste time on chatter, lunging forward in a blaze of fire to end this now. Suddenly she is panicking, realizing he is a madman who does not care about hostages and is just going for the kill. Under her command, Liu Zhe and the driver scream and charge forward to protect their new master. But Changzi is way too fast, blowing right past his brainwashed friends without even slowing down. With a blade to her throat, she begs him to stop, promising he will regret it if he kills her. He gives her one word and one chance: speak. So she tries to bargain with her looks and a vague promise of a powerful settlement, a solid B-tier villain pitch. Her next offer is to basically become his problem, warning him her boss will hunt him down otherwise. Changzi is so spectacularly unimpressed, you can almost hear the crickets. Changing tactics, she mentions her boss's people are just ahead and she can guarantee his safety. Her final, desperate play is a marriage proposal to get him into her settlement, because that is normal. This girl he saved just hopes he does not fall for this very obvious, very desperate trap. Ignoring all that noise, Changzi cuts right to the chase, asking if her boss is highly. She scoffs, revealing her boss is so high-ranking that even big shots like Jiang Mimi show respect. Changzi says he understands, and she immediately assumes he is on board with her whole "let us be a power couple" plan. Without a second thought, Changzi just slices her down, ending the negotiation for good. This girl he saved is horrified, asking why he killed her when she was trying to make a deal. He lays out his ice-cold logic. She tried to kill him, enslave his friends, and he is not joining her weird cult. As the mind control lifts, Liu Zhe and the driver snap out of it, completely confused about what just happened. Changzi explains she was a liability who could control them again, so he took a precautionary measure by killing her. This driver freaks out, revealing she was the mistress of a settlement leader, and now they have angered two of the three big bosses. Completely unfazed, Changzi says he is leaving soon anyway, rattling off the names of the three leaders like a grocery list. This driver confirms those three are the settlement's secret rulers, but they all despise each other. Liu Zhe pieces it all together, realizing two of the bosses are schemers while Jiang Mimi is smart enough to leave Changzi alone. He then tells Changzi to just lean into the mysterious powerful guy act because faking it is half the battle. Getting serious again, the driver warns that the path ahead is swarming with powerful awakened ones. But Changzi's resolve is absolute, his mind fixed on reaching the company where his sister is waiting. Hearing this, both Liu Zhe and the driver immediately pledge to follow him no matter what. This rescued girl then asks to tag along and Changzi agrees, telling her to provide cover from a distance. She is absolutely thrilled, promising to do her best not to cause any trouble for her new senior. Liu Zhe immediately starts teasing him, asking if he has gone soft and forgotten about his rich lady crush. Changzi just says it is for safety, which sends Liu Zhe into a rage about not needing a woman's protection. Now that she is on the team, the girl decides it is time to reveal a little secret she has been keeping. Her gold word attribute activates, lifting an odor concealment spell that was hiding something nearby. And just like that, a whole crowd of wounded survivors appears, all of them beaten back from whatever horror lies ahead. One of the survivors explains his crew got wiped out by enemies who used traps and ambushes. Changzi just shrugs, saying anything goes in a life-or-death battle, which really ticks the guy off. This survivor reveals the enemy even disguised themselves as reinforcements, catching him off guard and costing him a hand. He gets so worked up just talking about it that he starts coughing up blood, a bit dramatic. This girl they rescued clarifies she only intervened because the leopard print ladies squad was about to execute these survivors. Their driver chimes in, ranting that 2 of the 3 settlement bosses are ruthless tyrants. Now Changzi has a classic dilemma: leave these guys to die or risk his own mission to help them. His new green-haired teammate watches him, wondering what this terrifyingly rational person is going to do. This wounded leader knows abandoning them is the logical choice, but also that they are dead if he walks away. With all eyes on him, the driver calls out to the girl, who confirms she is ready for whatever he decides. Changzi makes his call, telling the driver to get the wounded to safety. He is not leaving them behind. Everyone is absolutely floored with relief, realizing he is not a complete sociopath after all. This driver sees a bit of his old boss in Changzi, someone who actually treats people like human beings. As a thank you, the wounded leader, Chu Feng, offers him a little something he looted from a rat. He hands over a piece of paper, formally introducing himself and vowing to repay this life-saving debt. Changzi takes the mysterious note, staring at it with a very serious, intense expression, only to immediately turn to Liu Zi and admit he cannot read it because of course he cannot. Liu Zi absolutely loses it, realizing it is a map to a secret treasure chest hidden in the dungeon. With a new plan, Changzi splits the party. They will go for the treasure while he goes to fight the boss. Liu Zi immediately calls him crazy, screaming that going after the boss alone is just a suicide run. Changzi tells Liu Zi the treasure is their best shot at a power-up, then warns him not to die on the way. Watching him go, Liu Zi admits to himself he is too weak to help directly, so this treasure hunt is his only option. With his new crew in tow, he heads for the treasure's location, vowing to come back a whole lot stronger. Meanwhile, Changzi finds the path to the boss conveniently pre-cleared by a fresh batch of corpses. This actually gives him some peace of mind, since it means Liu Zi's route should be relatively safe. But his own path is about to get a lot louder, as he hears the sounds of battle from the boss room just ahead. And there it is, a massive, snarling rat boss, already beaten down to its last 15% health. Peeking around the corner, he sees another team of adventurers already locked in a fight with the beast. These adventurers are getting cocky, screaming that the boss is almost dead and it is time to claim their prize. Changzi, however, has a much better plan. He is gonna let the boss soften them up before he makes his move. He calls it heaven's work, since they are just greedy killers anyway, deciding to pick off the weakest ones first. As the goons fantasize about all the women they will get after this, they have no idea Changzi is dropping in from above. In a blur of motion, he absolutely demolishes them before they can even react, a total slaughter. Our boy just coldly informs the last one standing that his victory party has been permanently cancelled. The survivors are stunned, and their leader immediately splits his forces, sending 2 guys to deal with the lone wolf. This Liu Beiyu guy charges in, popping a strength buff and hurling insults like it is actually going to help him. Behind him, 2 archer brothers get ready to provide backup, one loading a power shot and the other a rapid-fire arrow. But Changzi just phases right through the attack, completely unimpressed and calling them out for being pathetic. He then turns his ice-cold gaze on the 2 archers, letting them know their turn is up. A wave of panic hits the archers as they realize this is not just some random solo player they are messing with. This first archer brother activates an explosive shot, looking absolutely unhinged and ready to fire. His partner follows up with an ice arrow that adds a slowing effect, a classic elemental 1-2 punch. Their melee buddy is confident this will work, since ranged fighters are supposedly weak up close. A massive explosion of fire and ice consumes the narrow passage where Changzi is standing. Back at the main fight, the team leader tells his men to ignore the sideshow and kill the boss. His subordinate agrees, turning his attention back to the giant rat, which is now at 18% health. These 2 grunts resume their attack on the beast, screaming about finishing the job for their boss. Believing their target is toast, the Archer brothers watch the smoke, convinced there is no way he survived. They decide to prep their most vicious arrow just to be safe, which feels a little extra at this point. But then Changzi just walks out of the flames completely unscathed, ruining their whole victory vibe. Our boy is just thinking this is a perfect opportunity to test the limits of his new body. That massive elemental explosion he just took to the face was apparently just a minor inconvenience. These archers are completely stunned, realizing he did not even try to dodge, he is just a madman. One of them then has the horrifying thought that if he had dodged, they would have shot each other. Before they can even process that tactical failure, Changzi is behind one and takes his head off. He phases through the second brother, internally noting how ridiculously strong his new power is. This surviving archer screams in rage, knocking an arrow to avenge his fallen brother. Changzi just casually slaps the arrow out of the air, completely unimpressed by the final attack. Grabbing the guy's face, he delivers a cold lesson about how slaughtering others tends to end badly. With the trash taken care of, he reflects that his base stats are already this insane without even using skills. With his newfound power, Changzi wonders just how much stronger he has actually become. He knows he is still not on the level of the truly powerful people from his past. His goal remains laser-focused: kill the boss, get into the company, and find his sister. Back in the fight, the other adventurers move in for the final blow on the weakened rat. But the beast just cowers, holding its head in terror as its health hits 10%. It is actually begging for mercy, which is a very weird look for a dungeon boss. Suddenly, a massive axe crashes down from above, interrupting the would-be victory. And a second, much bigger boss appears, the giant Axe King Rat level 13. This adventurers are horrified, realizing there are 2 boss-level monsters in this dungeon. Without any warning, the new King Rat brings its axe down on the stunned party. They barely manage to dodge, their confidence completely shattered in a single moment. From the sidelines, Changzi notes that this second boss would have wiped them out if he had not shown up. His strategy is simple and brutal: eliminate the weaker, cowering boss first to simplify things. This other team's leader has the same idea, shouting to focus fire on the first monster. After a moment of agreement, they all proceed to charge the new, much stronger boss instead, a tactical masterstroke. This King Rat effortlessly blocks their combined assault, proving how bad their plan really is. These guys are already exhausted, whining about having to fight all over again after wearing down the first one. Then the King Rat turns its back on them, moving to protect the smaller, cowering monster. Seeing a perfect opening, Changzi darts in to take the first boss's head while everyone is distracted. This adventurers scream about him stealing their kill, but their leader just smirks, knowing Changzi is now the King Rat's main target. This King Rat roars, bringing its massive axe down on Changzi for daring to exist. But our boy just stands there, deciding to tank a level 13 boss just to see what happens. A massive impact absolutely shatters the ground where he was standing, and Changzi emerges from the dust, confirming that yes, getting hit by that thing really hurts. His new allies are stunned, realizing this King Rat is twice as strong as the last boss. With another furious roar, the beast winds up for a second swing, clearly not a fan of survivors. This time Changzi dodges, noting the boss is strong but slow and that these 2 clowns cannot win alone. He knows they need his help, but he is also 100% sure they will stab him in the back afterward. Right on cue, the leader offers a truce, casually overlooking the whole "you murdered our friends" thing. Changzi is not surprised at all, musing that in this world even mass murder is negotiable, so he agrees to the team-up, leaping back into the fray to fight the boss together. This second they turn away, the 2 adventurers confirm their genius plan: kill Changzi once the boss is at 10% health. They charge in, screaming, "We are here to help," with all the sincerity of a lone shark. And the 3-man team starts wailing on the King Rat, actually chipping away at its health bar. This just makes the boss angry, activating a bronze word attribute that buffs its damage and speed. It unleashes a devastating shockwave attack that ripples across the entire cavern floor. All 3 of them get blasted back, coughing up blood from the sheer force of the blow. This enraged King Rat continues its assault, swinging its axe in a furious arc. In response, Changzi summons a badass flaming sword, ready to even the odds. His temporary teammates pop their own strength buffs, a gold and a bronze attribute powering up for the final showdown. This King Rat goes full berserker mode, activating a gold attribute that juices its health and size. With a brand new scary face, it declares this is the true form of a king, very dramatic. His new allies are freaking out, realizing this boss-exclusive power means they have to go all in or die. So the leader pops his own gold attribute, summoning 10 shadow clones to join the fight. His buddy lights up his sword with a bronze tier burning blade wind, because teamwork makes the dream work. And the whole crew, clones and all, charges in for a massive beatdown on the supersized rat. But the team leader is already plotting, noticing Changzi is not even level 10 yet. His genius plan: let the new guy get exhausted, then stab him in the back. Shocking, I know. Despite the scheming, their combined assault is actually working, chipping the boss's health down bit by bit. And finally, after a brutal fight, they have got the King Rat down to critical health. Changzi rushes in to deliver the final blow, leading the charge like a true hero, which is the perfect moment for the leader to yell strike at his partner, and he is not talking about the boss. Right on cue, the backstabber swings his flaming sword directly at an unsuspecting Changzi. These 2 traitors gloat about how a low-level scrub like him could never be their ally, but Changzi effortlessly blocks the attack, admitting they have a point, before promising to return the favor. They are stunned he has any strength left, as our boy confirms the feeling was mutual. He never trusted them either. Even the boss monster pauses the fight just to laugh at this pathetic display of human betrayal. Then Changzi activates his own attribute, a limit-breaking power-up, declaring that if he is bad, they are worse. Meanwhile, Liu Ze follows the treasure map into a dark cave, hoping for his own power-up, and he is just praying he does not find any monsters, because without his driver, he is basically a sitting duck. Liu Ze enters the cave, immediately picking up the not-so-subtle smell of blood. He then starts praying to every god he can think of, begging not to run into any monsters, a true profile in courage. His prayers are answered, sort of, as he finds the treasure chest surrounded by a fresh massacre. With a deep sigh of relief, he declares it a false alarm because other people's deaths do not count. He figures these poor saps had the same map but met the Guardian, confirming that praying to gods totally works. Standing over the bodies, he offers a heartfelt thank you to the Pathfinders for their noble sacrifice. At the chest, he is stumped by the lock, wondering how in the world he is supposed to open this thing. His best idea is to just jam a spike into it, questioning if brute force is the answer to all of life's problems. But the dungeon's easy mode kicks in, literally generating a key for him out of thin air. He eagerly opens the chest, wondering what kind of loot a gray-level dungeon has to offer. Inside is a sweet green-level crossbow that scales with his strength and adds a ton of bonus damage. Liu Ze is absolutely thrilled, shouting that he can finally ditch his slingshot and return to help Changzi. Right on cue, a monster drops from the ceiling to give him a chance to test it out. This is the perfect opportunity, as he activates an attribute to detect weak points and boost his damage by 200%. He lets a bolt fly, aiming for a critical hit with a massive damage bonus stacked on top. This monster does not even get a chance to fight back, just squeaking as the shot lands dead center. And just like that, the beast is down for the count, collapsing at his feet. Our boy is completely stunned, celebrating his very first one-shot kill with pure unadulterated joy. He finally gets why Changzi is so strong, realizing a good weapon makes all the difference as he levels up. After realizing he's been leeching XP this whole time, he decides it is time to hurry back and pull his own weight. Armed with his new crossbow, Liu Ze races to the rescue, screaming that he is coming to help. As the whole cavern shakes, he starts to panic, realizing the boss is strong enough to cause earthquakes. He grits his teeth, determined to speed up and get there in time to save his friend. From the tunnel entrance, he is just a tiny speck shouting promises of salvation into the darkness. But when he finally arrives, he stops dead in his tracks, completely stunned by the scene. There is Changzi crackling with power, holding one traitor by the throat while the other is already down. Liu Ze immediately deflates, realizing his big hero moment was completely unnecessary. Changzi had it handled. This fight is not quite over, though, as the bloodied king rat lets out a furious growl. It pushes itself back to its feet, ready for another round while our boy is still busy with the trash. Towering over them, the enraged boss prepares to bring its axe down on everyone at once. From the sidelines, Liu Ze screams a desperate warning for Changzi to watch out. Changzi, however, just gives a calm side-eye, looking completely unbothered by the giant rat monster. This king rat swings its weapon down for the kill, aiming to crush both hero and traitor. And just like that, the boss is dead, netting Changzi 2 level-ups in a single glorious kill. This also unlocks a brand new unique attribute for him, the Eternal Evolution Codex. He is presented with a whole menu of new skills to choose from, ranging from bronze to radiant tier. Looking over his options, Changzi sees some familiar attributes and some he has never encountered before. But then his power-up wears off, leaving him completely drained of stamina as the side effect kicks in. Liu Ze rushes to his side, worried about his friend's sudden exhaustion. Changzi reassures him he is just drained, admitting he needs to rest and recover his strength. Liu Ze gets a surge of resolve, realizing that even Changzi has his limits and needs protecting. He gently supports his friend, telling him to rest easy because he has got this handled. At that exact moment, the entire dimension starts to crumble now that the boss is dead. So Liu Ze throws Changzi on his back, remembering they have a bit of time before it all goes boom. He is still worried though, knowing the traitor's buddies are probably waiting outside for revenge. His brilliant plan is to camp the exit and wait until the last possible second to leave. But of course, a random steel claw rat immediately ambushes them because peace is not an option. Liu Ze is totally confused, wondering why there are still mobs running around after the boss is dead. With his new crossbow in hand, he tells Changzi to sleep tight. It is his turn to be the hero. Then he sees it as not just one rat, but a whole welcoming party of them. His confidence takes a nosedive as he realizes he is actually up against 4 angry monsters. Completely surrounded, Liu Ze grits his teeth, ready to fight them all to keep his friend safe. He flashes a determined grin, vowing that this time he will be the one doing the protecting. Meanwhile, outside the dungeon, Deputy Administrator Huang Jun casually sips tea while his goons stand guard. With a smug smirk, he gives the order to kill whoever comes out, just as they planned. A second administrator, the much more feral Hailey, agrees. If it is not their people, smash their heads. In a different scene, a man in a medical bay swears an oath to a settlement administrator. This administrator, a guy with light blue hair, coldly shuts him down over supply tickets and family matters. This man just laughs, saying this Zhao Cheng and his friends could not be anyone important with their old-fashioned ways. But then he has a sudden realization, maybe Zhao Cheng let him go to save his life, a classic hero move. Outside the dungeon, a new crew gets word that Huang Jun and Hailey have the exit surrounded. Their orders are simple and to the point, kill anyone who is not one of their own. But their boss, a cool-headed guy named Jiang, is not worried, claiming a company examiner has his back. His red-haired subordinate points out their rivals are not idiots and must have a plan for that. Another lackey panics, realizing this means Changzi and his friends are walking right into an ambush. So Administrator Jiang decides to make a stand, declaring he will go to the exit himself to intervene. His purple-haired goon immediately starts gushing, praising his boss's noble and unwavering promises. This red-haired guy asks if this public display means he has finally changed his mind about Changzi. Jiang clarifies that no, he just sees the kid as a potential ladder for his own career if he survives. He claims it is all for their future, but his partner teases him for secretly admiring the kid. Jiang responds with all the maturity of a toddler, threatening to tear the guy's mouth apart. Meanwhile, back in the collapsing cave, Changzi finally wakes up from his post-battle nap. He immediately starts freaking out as he realizes the entire dimension is falling apart around him. Liu Ze calmly explains their situation, a rock in a hard place with an ambush waiting outside. That is when Changzi sees his friend is beaten to a pulp but still smiling through the pain. Liu Ze proudly recounts how he single-handedly protected his unconscious friend from 4 angry rats. Our boy is genuinely touched, realizing Liu Ze risked his life to keep him safe. Liu Ze tries to act tough, insisting he can walk before immediately wincing in agony. Nice try, buddy. So Changzi just throws his injured friend on his back, ready to carry them both out of there. Even though he is wrecked, Liu Ze gives a bloody grin, ready to face whatever comes next together. This dungeon exit portal swirls to life, and the waiting ambush party spots a lone silhouette emerging. A whole crowd of goons turns to face the entrance, ready to jump whoever walks out. Meanwhile, on a rooftop, a mysterious woman with binoculars declares the real winner is about to appear. Her butler tries to manage expectations, reminding her it is just a low-level test not worth her time. But she has got total faith, insisting her chosen one will be the one to walk out of there. And right on cue, Changzi steps out of the portal, carrying his battered friend Liu Ze. Both of them are bruised and bloody, but their eyes are blazing with defiance. They made it through. This rooftop observer immediately recognizes them, a little surprised Changzi is playing pack mule for his friend. Down below, the ambush crew starts yelling, realizing these are not their guys and their friends are missing. Administrator Huang Jun gives them a cold look, asking if they are the only two who survived. His much angrier partner Hailey gets right to the point, screaming about where his brothers are. Liu Ze, with a bloody grin, happily informs them their brothers were animals, so he killed them. This news goes over about as well as you'd expect, with the entire mob demanding their heads. These two administrators give the final order. Since our boys took their spots, they are not leaving alive. As the whole crowd charges, Liu Ze notes that besides the leaders, everyone else is just a scrub. Changzi calmly draws a wicked-looking dagger, ready for round 2 against a fresh batch of idiots. His blade ignites with golden flames as he promises to use them to test out his new attribute. We get a look at his new skills, a passive armor-piercing buff and a radiant tier wind manipulation power. He internally reflects that the boss kill pushed him to level 10 and unlocked this insane new ability. With his eyes glowing, Changzi activates Call Wind, preparing to absolutely wreck this welcoming committee. Changzi's wind ability kicks up a massive sandstorm, totally blinding the ambush party. To make things even spicier, the whirlwind ignites into a full-blown fire tornado, a lovely welcome gift. These grunts are instantly incinerated, screaming as they are tossed around in the blaze. Administrator Huang Jun just calmly draws his rapier, admitting the kid's got some talent. His partner Hailey is not nearly as composed, roaring about how sinister Changzi is. With flames in his eyes, Changzi coldly asks what difference it makes which power is his. This administrators decide to stop talking and start smashing, dismissing our boy as low-level trash. Liu Ze tells Changzi to put him down, but Changzi admits he cannot beat them either way. Brutal honesty. His friend is floored by this, but Changzi says their only option is to make a stand right here. A very confused Liu Ze asks who exactly they are making a stand for asterisk. Meanwhile, the rooftop observer and her butler watch the fight, deciding not to intervene just yet. This butler calmly explains that it is because the real backup has already arrived. Right on cue, Hailey charges in for the kill while Liu Ze screams for them to run for it. But Changzi is completely unfazed, telling him there is no need, their help is here too. Suddenly, a massive crimson tiger spirit erupts from the ground, demanding everyone freeze. Liu Ze immediately recognizes the ability, smugly realizing his plan to wait for help actually worked. Administrator Jiang strolls in, declaring Changzi is under his company's protection and is untouchable. Just then, one of Jiang's men runs up with urgent news. Their settlement is under attack by another group. Jiang coolly orders his team to go provide support, saying he will handle this mess first. He then glares at the rival administrators, wondering what they promised to get a whole settlement to risk his wrath. Hailey smugly reveals his master plan. He promised the attackers 3 whole days to plunder the settlement. Jiang is absolutely disgusted, realizing his rivals sold out their entire home for a petty power grab. Turns out this whole beef started because Hailey felt his genius expansion ideas were being ignored, a classic villain origin story. Watching from the sidelines, Changzi quietly notes that for the average person, Jiang is still the better leader. Liu Ze whispers that Jiang must have it rough, dealing with this many traitors in his own ranks. Still being carried like a sack of potatoes, Liu Ze tries to get his friend's attention mid-standoff. That purple-haired fanboy from before pops up, urging them to follow him to safety before they become cannon fodder. But the fight kicks off instantly, with a stray blast nearly incinerating them on the spot. Their new buddy shoves them behind a rock just as Liu Ze realizes the main event is starting without them. And what an event it is! The administrators are clashing with some seriously flashy elemental powers. Their guide gives a quick rundown of the enemy's abilities, one with lightning and the other with earth control. Changzi just watches intently as the goon asks what the deal is with Jiang's unique green flames. Right on cue, Jiang unleashes a massive torrent of emerald fire, a power no one seems to recognize. This is not just any old skill either, it is a legendary radiant tier attribute, putting him in a league of his own. This fanboy is practically vibrating with excitement, revealing its name is Hellish Netherworld Flames, very subtle. Liu Ze is completely stunned, realizing it is a 1 in 10,000 power said to be able to reshape the world. Changzi confirms the legends are true, saying he has read ancient texts that explain why their world is so broken. He begins a history lesson, explaining it all started when word attributes first appeared out of nowhere. This very first one apparently manifested randomly inside some poor, unsuspecting human. And that single event was the spark that led to the complete and utter collapse of civilization. Liu Ze's mind is totally blown, realizing a power like that could save his sister and maybe even rebuild the world. But Changzi is more grounded, noting his own radiant power is not that special and that tears have tears. He then questions if a human could even control such an insane ability without it consuming them whole. Meanwhile, back in the fight, Hailey screams that just because Jiang is radiant does not mean he will lose, and he promptly activates his bronze giant form because subtlety is for other people. This peanut gallery is stunned. This is Hailey's second attribute, and it is a gold tier 1. Now a giant, he roars about turning Jiang into meat paste for daring to block his expansion. Jiang, however, just looks up at the incoming fist with a smug little smile, completely unbothered. His green flames erupt and swallow the giant whole as the other admin screams his partner's name in horror. With total disdain, Jiang says a clown like Hailey was never worthy of replacing him. We get a lovely close-up of Hailey's face being absolutely incinerated by those netherworld flames. Looks painful. Liu Ze is panicking from the cheap seats, wondering why Jiang is not dodging and just taking the hit. Changzi calmly explains that their protector is a little busy helping someone else at the moment. Turns out, Jiang's flames are also blocking Huang Jun's earth attacks from hitting one of his subordinates. This other administrator, Huang Jun, summons massive earth pillars, going all out on his own target. He gives a classic villain speech about teaching his opponent the difference in their power levels with his life. Jiang's subordinate, a guy named Bai Rong, is getting absolutely crushed by the earth pillars. But just in time, Jiang's green flames slice through the rock, saving his guy from becoming a pancake. Huang Jun completely loses it, screaming that fire cannot contain earth. Someone clearly failed elementary school science. Freed from the attack, Bai Rong screams his undying loyalty, declaring he has no regrets following Jiang. This battlefield absolutely explodes as Huang Jun's earth-based attacks continue to hammer down. He yells to his supposedly still-alive partner that he has dealt with Bai Rong and they should team up on Jiang. But just then, a new white-haired guy crackling with lightning zips in, announcing he is here to help. Bai Rong is completely floored, demanding to know how this kid got so strong when he was a low-level scrub yesterday. This lightning user admits his power-up is temporary and tells Bai Rong to quit asking questions and fight. In the middle of the chaos, Huang Jun's eyes narrow. He senses more uninvited guests have arrived. With no time to waste, the new duo charges the administrator in a blur of motion. Huang Jun is shocked to see Bai Rong still standing, realizing this new kid must have saved him. This three of them get locked in a desperate, chaotic melee of parries and dodges. That lightning user manages to land a clean hit with a massive, crackling energy scythe. Huang Jun clutches his bleeding chest, absolutely furious that some nobody actually managed to wound him. Elsewhere, the fanboy is desperately wrestling Liu Ze, who is trying to get up and join the fight, a truly noble sacrifice. Back at the settlement, Jiang's forces are getting wrecked, shocked the invaders have actual firearms. This attacker's leader, backed by some serious artillery, promises his men free rein to plunder once they win. And with that, a full-scale bombardment rains down on the defenders' positions. From her perch, the rooftop observer impatiently asks her butler if he is ever going to step in. Her butler gives her a look, coolly asking who exactly she wants him to act against. She reminds him Changzi's crew are now company assets, so he should be protecting their settlement. With total confidence, she tells him she knows he has the power to end this whole mess. But he just tells her to wait, revealing the test's outcome was never the point and asking if she knows its true purpose. This rooftop observer finally asks her butler the big question, why is any of this happening? He explains the test's true purpose was to weaken every settlement, a culling disguised as recruitment. She is absolutely floored, having believed the company was trying to find strong people to help it grow. Her butler coldly states the company is already strong enough to give everyone a perfect life if it chose to, but then he hits her with the cynical reality, if everyone was safe and happy, who would need the company? This brutal logic leaves her completely speechless, the sheer scale of the manipulation sinking in. He concludes that letting everyone kill each other is just good management for maintaining continental stability, a real people person. She is not buying his detached lecture, pointing out that while they talk, the settlement's gates are about to be breached. Down below, civilians are being cut down, and she asks if she is really supposed to just do nothing. So she pulls rank, asking if her authority as the Guan family's heir is enough to order him to save them. This butler confirms she can give the order, but warns her it would violate the sacred regulations of the 5 great families. Now she is trapped between breaking the law and getting her family in trouble, or watching thousands die. He then gives her a quick rundown of the world's power structure, which is ruled by 5 families above all else. These 5 clans form a supreme council that secretly makes all the real decisions for the continent. To keep their own backstabbing in check, this council created a set of rules that even they must obey. He spells it out, interfering would break Article 9, earning her a massive fine and 30 days of house arrest. And house arrest is the real poison because it means being banned from entering dungeons to get stronger. While she is grounded, her rivals in the other families will surge ahead, putting her entire clan at risk. Just as she is agonizing over the choice, he informs her the settlement's gates have already been breached. Time's up. On the ground, the invaders' leader roars for his men to kill their way inside and take everything. This invaders storm the settlement, their leader screaming for his men to kill and plunder everything in sight. Absolute chaos erupts in the streets as terrified civilians scramble to escape the slaughter. One of the goons corners a woman with a truly disgusting grin, promising to take good care of her. It is a full-on massacre, with the attackers cutting down anyone who does not hand over their valuables. Watching from above, the rooftop observer's face hardens as she clenches her fist in pure rage. She finally snaps, pulling rank as the Guan family heir and ordering her butler to intervene, consequences be damned. Her butler just calmly accepts the command, not a single flicker of emotion on his face. And with that, he leaps from the roof in a flash of purple energy, heading straight for the fight. His miss watches him go, hoping he will eventually understand why she had to break the rules. Mid-flight, the butler muses on her soft heart but still decides to go help Chengzi's crew. He declares his mission as a Guan family death warrior and activates his word attribute, time for business. A massive purple lightning tornado erupts from him, shocking the invaders on the ground below. From the eye of the storm, he vows that anyone who angers his lady will die without mercy. Meanwhile, back at the other fight, the lightning user realizes their attacks cannot even scratch Huang Jun's earth defenses. He also notes Bai Rong is badly injured and is quickly becoming a liability in this fight. This lightning kid activates his bronze tier Trump Master attribute, hoping a speed boost will help. But Huang Jun just laughs, revealing his own speed attribute is gold tier, a whole different level of fast. He then zips around like a maniac, completely overwhelming the kid with his superior speed. Bai Rong, watching from the sidelines, knows they are outmatched but hopes to exploit an opening if Huang Jun gets cocky. This lightning user gets absolutely skewered by earth spikes, realizing they are completely out of options. Down but not out, the lightning user forces himself up, still crackling with borrowed power. From the sidelines, Bai Rong activates his own ability, screaming out Huang Jun's weak point for the assist. Hearing the call, the lightning kid rockets forward without a single moment of hesitation. This purple-haired fanboy is just in awe of their battlefield synergy, total blind trust. That one assist, however, has left Bai Rong looking like he's about to pass out from exhaustion. Our lightning boy goes for broke, stacking all his attributes into a single final strike. Huang Jun just laughs, thinking he has got an easy kill on the exhausted Bai Rong, completely oblivious to the real threat. This two of them share a moment of pure unhinged battle lust before the final impact. Their powers collide in a massive explosion, with the kid screaming that victory is his. And Huang Jun is just stunned, unable to believe he actually lost to some random upstart. Being a sore loser, he lunges for a final "if I am going down, you are coming with me" attack. This lightning user just shuts that down with a cool "in your dreams," a truly epic own. Turns out he had a one-time refresh ability that restored just enough power to finish the job. But now he is really asterisk out of gas, stumbling forward as the power finally fades. Bai Rong catches him just in time, thanking his new brother for the life-saving clutch play. Just then, a hooded woman appears, shocked that Zhao Cheng, the lightning user, won since he was a low-level scrub last she checked. She is completely floored, wondering what kind of monster talent she has just witnessed. Bai Rong immediately recognizes her as a Lord Examiner and tries to be respectful despite his injuries. He quickly explains this as Zhao Cheng, the winner of the company's exam from their settlement. Bai Rong worries internally that someone of her status will not give a damn about a rookie, no matter how promising. This Lord Examiner steps in, telling a baffled Bai Rong to leave the unconscious kid to her and go help Jiang. She then greets Zhao Cheng by name, leaving Bai Rong completely stunned by their apparent connection. Without a second thought, she hoists the kid onto her back, definitely not standard Examiner rookie protocol. Bai Rong's brain just completely short-circuits at the sight of this VIP giving a piggyback ride. His mind races with the only possible explanation. Zhao Cheng must be some big shot secret boy toy. Meanwhile, Jiang faces off against a surprisingly not dead Hailey, informing him his second life is now over. Hailey roars that he is not done yet, charging forward for another round because getting vaporized once just was not enough of a hint. With a look of pure boredom, Jiang unleashes another blast of green flame, basically telling him to shut up and die already. This time the attack is full of screaming skulls, just in case the "you are so dead" message was not clear enough. And with that, Jiang casually lights a cigarette, the fight already forgotten as his opponent becomes a memory. Bai Rong finally catches up to his boss, who already knows they killed Huang Jun and says it is time to head for the gates. But Bai Rong reports that someone else is handling the invasion because he has much juicier gossip about Zhao Cheng. Jiang looks thoroughly unimpressed, asking what could possibly be so important about the new guy. With wide-eyed urgency, Bai Rong confirms the Lord Examiner personally carried Zhao Cheng away on her back. This finally gets Jiang's gears turning. The kid helped kill an admin and has an examiner's favor, so his background must be insane. Bai Rong blurts out the only theory that makes any sense. He has to be some powerful figure's illegitimate son. Taking a long drag from his cigarette, Jiang coolly agrees that it is very likely the case. His mind is already scheming, seeing a chance to use this kid's potential by planting a seed of loyalty in his heart. We then cut to a quiet, peaceful-looking building within the settlement, the sounds of battle having faded. Inside, a bandaged Zhao Cheng is resting in bed, finally getting a moment to recover from his insane power-up. Zhao Cheng jolts awake, completely wrapped in bandages and totally lost in an unfamiliar room. His fanboy Liu Zi immediately pops in with a bowl of food, absolutely thrilled to see him conscious. Still trying to get his bearings, Zhao Cheng just asks where the heck they are. Liu Zhe explains he's been out cold for 3 days, recovering in the examiner's personal quarters. Our boy realizes this is the price for using that insane power-up while his buddy just wants him to eat. Just then, a door slides open and a new voice announces that he is finally awake, and in walks the Lord Examiner herself, looking way less formal than when she was giving him a piggyback ride. Zhao Cheng is completely stunned to see her, while Liu Zhe is just focused on his meal, a man of priorities. This fanboy's sharp eyes catch something unexpected. Is our boy actually blushing right now? She formally introduces herself as the company's examiner, saying she is relieved he is finally up. He is floored, asking if she has really been waiting around for him ever since he passed out. She just gives a professional yes, which totally deflates Liu Zhe, who was clearly hoping for some juicy drama. Then she gets down to business, presenting them with official ID cards for an organization called Brahma, but they are confused, noticing she is holding 3 cards when there are only 2 of them. She explains the original plan was for 3 recruits, but since only 2 qualified, she has a spare. And she offers that spare card directly to Zhao Cheng, calling it a personal favor with a wink. He accepts without hesitation, promising to repay her for the gesture down the line. Liu Zhe is not buying the just a favor line, getting super jealous of their obvious chemistry. Suddenly, the Guan family butler appears from nowhere, reminding his miss that they are out of time. This clearly interrupts her moment with Zhao Cheng, and she does not look pleased about it at all. This examiner tells Zhao Cheng she has one last thing for him before she has to go. She pulls out a small charm, clarifying this is a personal gift and totally off the books. Tying it to his wrist, she calls it a lucky charm for his new gig, a classic move. With a final wave, she and her ever-present butler make their grand exit. Zhao Cheng just stares after her, feeling a strange reluctance he cannot quite place. His fanboy immediately calls him out for being a lovesick puppy who did not even say a proper goodbye. Ignoring the teasing, Zhao Cheng just tosses Liu Zhe his brand new Brahma ID card. But Liu Zhe is on a roll, reminding him that a VIP lady literally carried him home and he just sat there mute. That little detail finally clicks for Zhao Cheng, realizing she was the one who saved him after the fight. Just then, Jiang and his whole crew barge in, asking if he has already met the examiner. Our boy confirms it, clutching the charm she gave him like a precious treasure. This rest of the crew just bursts into tears, absolutely overjoyed that their big brother is finally awake. This genuine concern seems to really get to him, a rare moment of warmth. He then glances over at Liu Zhe, who conveniently left out the part about everyone being worried sick. This whole squad is now crowded around his bed, leaving Zhao Cheng a little overwhelmed by the sudden party. Jiang actually steps up to thank him for saving Bai Rong, admitting he was a jerk before character development maybe. Zhao Cheng just smiles it off, saying he chose to help because not many people in this world look out for the little guy. This answer seems to genuinely impress Jiang, who is probably not used to hearing about altruism. Laughing, Jiang admits he totally misjudged the kid and tells Bai Rong to bring him a gift. Bai Rong presents a box, explaining it is a thank you present from the settlement's administrator and all its people. Zhao Cheng looks skeptical about this whole gift from the people's speech. Jiang explains that without his mysterious special status, that fancy butler would have just let everyone die. He insists the kid earn the gift by saving the entire settlement from total annihilation. Our boy just smirks, deciding he will take the freebies first and ask questions later, a solid life philosophy. Then Jiang casually mentions there is someone else who wants a word with him. A girl with green pigtails and goggles suddenly appears, leaving Zhao Cheng completely baffled. She is a blushing, stuttering mess, clearly working up the nerve to say something important. And then she just blurts it out, asking to follow him for the rest of her life. Her crew comically begs from the sidelines, promising they just need a tiny bit of support. Jiang clarifies she wants to follow him personally not drag her whole settlement along for the ride. Zhao Cheng is confused, pointing out she has her own people and he has nothing to offer her. She explains her people are moving to Jiang's settlement for safety since she cannot protect them herself. In a flashback, she remembers his strength, believing he is destined for greatness in this world. Pledging her loyalty, she offers up her vocalization attribute as a useful tool for his team. This is all too much for Liu Zhe, who just explodes with laughter in the corner. This girl immediately gets furious, demanding to know what is so funny about her heartfelt speech. But Liu Zhe smoothly pivots, saying he is laughing because she has excellent taste, just like him. He then takes the extra Brahma ID cards from Zhao Cheng with a newfound sense of purpose. Holding one out, he officially recruits her, declaring they will follow their leader into hell itself. She accepts, swearing her allegiance, and is shocked to find her picture is already on the ID. Zhao Cheng is just staring at his ID card, shocked that it suddenly has his info on it. Jiang casually explains the company's IDs are high-tech, automatically binding to their owners, no cheap plastic here. Looking out the window, he announces their official company transport has finally arrived. Their ride is a carriage pulled by 3 gnarly mutated horses, which is apparently just standard issue. With their new team officially formed, the whole crew heads out to start their new life. A new guy with a bowl cut tells them to hop in, promising to brief them on the road. This pigtail girl is absolutely buzzing with excitement for the journey, while Liu Zhe just smirks at her energy. But before they leave, Jiang pulls Zhao Cheng aside for one last piece of parting advice. He gives a grim warning that the company is no paradise and the world is a brutal place. His final words are a challenge: if you do not like the rules, get strong enough to make new ones. Now on the road, Liu Zi asks Zhao Cheng what is on his mind since he's been dead silent. Our boy is just lost in thought, his mind completely focused on getting stronger to find his sister. This bowl-cut driver, their new squad mate, notices his intense look and asks if he has a question. Zhao Cheng asks where they are going, and the driver reveals they are all assigned to External Affairs Squad 63. This guy introduces himself as Luo Pingxi, nicknamed Honest, which is never a good sign. Zhao Cheng immediately calls him out, asking if he gets bullied often with a nickname like that. Honest just says he is from the bottom class, adding that a hotshot like Zhao Cheng will not be stuck there long. This gets our boy's attention, so making contributions is the ticket to getting promoted and leaving. Luo Pingxi confirms it but adds the classic catch: if you are a noble, you can leave without doing a thing. For Zhao Cheng, this is a clear opportunity to find his sister. Now he just needs to figure out what these contributions are. Zhao Cheng cuts right to the chase, asking their new driver how exactly they are supposed to get promoted. Luo Pingxi offers him the truth or a lie, and our boy, never one for sugarcoating, asks for the truth. This driver lays out their two career paths: either crush the lower class or help the admins exploit them for blue crystals, great options. He explains their destination, Settlement 725, is a crystal mine where the lower classes are in a state of constant rebellion. Zhao Cheng then asks what these blue crystals even are, as a grim vision shows people being brutally oppressed for them. Holding a crystal shard, he wonders what the upper class even needs this stuff for. Luo Pingxi just scoffs to himself, thinking a genius like Zhao Cheng could never understand the struggles of the poor. With a theatrical snap of the reins, he gets them moving again, his little story time clearly over. This rest of the crew picks up on the driver's bitter vibe, realizing they are headed for yet another 5-star hellhole. Their carriage finally approaches Settlement 725, a massive walled city that looks deceptively peaceful from a distance. As they roll through the gates, locals greet Lord Luo, thanking him for bringing more fresh blood, which is not at all creepy. Peeking out, the team notes that while the place is rich, the people look absolutely dead inside, a far cry from Jiang's settlement. Zhao Cheng's gaze suddenly sharpens, spotting something deeply unsettling in the streets ahead. He is watching a long, miserable line of workers hauling massive sacks on their backs. Liu Zi and the pigtail girl are shocked to realize these exhausted laborers are all powerful, awakened people. This camera focuses on their grim march, each step looking like it takes every ounce of their strength. His new teammates immediately guess the sacks are full of blue crystals, calling it blatant exploitation. But Zhao Cheng points out a very strange detail: there are no guards or whips forcing them to work. This completely stumps the others, who cannot imagine why anyone would voluntarily torture themselves like this. Our boy delivers the cold reality: they are not being forced by whips because their oppressors are so powerful they have no other choice. Luo Pingxi announces they have arrived at squad headquarters, ready to hand them off to the leader. Their new home is a ridiculously grand building with a giant glowing lotus floating right over it. Liu Zi and the pigtail girl are completely gobsmacked by the sheer scale of the place. With a smug little smile, Luo Pingxi tells the new recruits to follow him to meet their boss, but Liu Zi immediately pipes up, asking why they are not using the fancy main entrance. A new guy with fabulous pink hair appears to explain the front door is for nobles, not bottom-class trash. Luo Pingxi just sighs, knowing this pompous young master is about to cause a whole lot of trouble. Liu Zi, however, is practically vibrating with glee, recognizing the classic starter-villain trope. Zhao Cheng catches his fanboy's mischievous look, realizing he is about to unleash his inner troll. Stepping forward, Liu Zi innocently asks if this rooster brother is an important person around here. This pink-haired guy is instantly furious, demanding to know who the hell he is calling a rooster. Liu Zi just doubles down, asking if he is a hen that lays eggs instead, a masterclass in escalation. That is the last straw, as the bully grabs him by the collar, ready to throw down right there. Playing it cool, Liu Zi pretends to back off before asking why such an important guy is using the side entrance. He then lays the trap, pointing out that if he is using the side door with them, then he must be a nobody country bumpkin too, which sends the guy into a silent, murderous rage. Screaming that he is asking for death, the bully throws a punch right at Liu Zi's face. But Zhao Cheng's hand flashes out, blocking the fist with absolutely zero effort. He calmly advises the guy not to start a fight, his grip so strong the bully is completely shocked. And he finishes with a cold warning that if he does, he will regret it for the rest of his life. Fuming, the pink-haired bully screams that they are not done yet, a classic sore loser exit. Luo Pingxi quickly steps in, telling everyone to follow him to meet the waiting squad leader. With one last hateful glare, the bully vows to make them pay for the humiliation. His bodyguard then offers to just make the new guys disappear for his young master, which is subtle. Inside, a nervous Luo Pingxi reports to their new boss, introducing the fresh recruits. This squad leader could not care less, immediately ordering them to the mines to suppress a riot. Welcome to the team. Looking absolutely terrified, Luo Pingxi just agrees and tells everyone to clear a path. Their new captain, Jiang Zhenshin, walks past, and Zhao Cheng notes his power is not on the examiner's level. Luo Pingxi explains he is level 27, the second strongest person in the entire settlement. This gets Liu Zi thinking, asking what level the number one guy, the administrator, is. With a grim look, their guide reveals the administrator is a terrifying level 30 powerhouse. This whole crew is stunned, and Zhao Cheng asks why he is so freaked out just saying the number. He frantically warns them that nobody is allowed to even talk about the administrator in private. A menacing aura appears as he explains that one wrong word means even their id will not save them. This team realizes this place is run by a ruthless tyrant who does not even allow gossip. Changing the subject fast, Luo Pingxi points them toward the changing rooms to get their uniforms. Now in their new gear, the pigtail girl is just happy to be wearing something nice for once. But Luo Pingxi is already panicking, rushing them to go deal with that riot before they get punished. Zhao Cheng decides they will check out the situation first, since suppressing a riot sounds shady. And just then the ground erupts beneath them, throwing the entire squad off their feet. Down in the mines, another squad member hears the commotion and is immediately on edge. Zhao Cheng and the pigtail girl instantly recognize the sound, human screams coming from deep underground. This source of the noise is a new punk with pink hair looking down with a seriously smug expression, and he is just beating some poor guy senseless, yelling about how he needs to establish his authority. This guy on the ground is desperately trying to reason with him, but it is clearly not working. This psycho Sima Yan cuts him off, ranting about his grand plan to get famous and become a big shot. He strikes a pose, proudly declaring he will bring honor to the Sima family, a real class act. His terrified lackey immediately corrects someone, insisting they address him as young Master Yan. As they walk away, Luo Pingxi is amazed that our crew did not seem to fear the Sima family name at all. Liu Zai just casually asks if the guy has a bad reputation, which is probably the understatement of the century. Turns out he is the administrator's son, a total monster who torments everyone because daddy protects him. This has the pigtail girl wondering why the company would even recruit a psycho like that. This catches he is a level 11 awakened at only 17, which apparently qualifies as genius-level talent. Liu Zhe and the pigtail girl immediately start comparing stats, wondering if they are also geniuses. It is adorable. And then they both freeze, a single glorious thought crossing their minds at the same time. If that punk is a genius, then their leader Zhao Cheng must be a genius among geniuses. Their fan club meeting is interrupted by an imposing old guy who tells them to get out of his way. Liu Zhe, never one to hold back, immediately wonders who this rude old man thinks he is. Luo Pingxi frantically identifies him as the squad leader, who promptly tells them to take their people and get lost. He quickly warns them a dangerous criminal is locked up nearby, urging them to get to the riot ASAP. Zhao Cheng's instincts are screaming, realizing honest, Luo was definitely hiding something about this so-called dangerous criminal. Their destination is a green-level dungeon, where a long line of miserable workers waits to enter a glowing blue portal. One woman finally snaps, refusing to go in because the monsters are getting stronger and it is a death sentence. This workers plead for arrest after 10 straight days of labor, but their blindfolded overseer is not in a listening mood. He grabs the protesting woman by the throat, yelling that if she will not work, she can just die instead. Resigned to her fate, she just tells her friend she is going ahead, ready to face whatever comes. But her boss decides to just kill her right there, raising a knife to make an example of her. And just in the nick of time, a hand blocks the blade before it can connect. It is Liu Zhe who used his slingshot to stop the attack, demanding to know what the hell is going on. This overseer, now revealed as the deputy squad leader, furiously accuses them of starting a rebellion. Luo Pingxi desperately tries to explain they are the new recruits sent by the captain to suppress this very riot. This explanation does not go over well as the deputy grabs him, clearly insulted by the word help. He then smacks Luo Pingxi across the face, blaming him for bringing these disrespectful rookies. This pigtail girl immediately explodes, screaming at the deputy and asking what gives him the right to hit people. Another one of the deputy's goons steps up, asking for permission to educate the new girl on proper etiquette. With a grim look, the deputy gives the order to use force and show her exactly who is in charge. This thug powers up with a nasty grin, activating his Valor word attribute as he lunges forward. Liu Zhe aims his slingshot to intervene, but Zhao Cheng stops him, calmly saying Zio Man can handle this. And he is right, Zio Man unleashes her own power, a scent control ability she has mastered through surviving hell. Her attacker is immediately hit with a disgusting smell, recoiling in shock from her totally unexpected power. Before the goon can even recover from the smell, Zio Man drops down on him with a devastating kick. And she absolutely plants him, shattering the ground and taking him out in one clean shot. She then strikes a pose, making it very clear she is not some scrawny, weak woman. Liu Zhe's jaw hits the floor, but Zhao Cheng knew she was a beast. She's even stronger than Yezha in a one-on-one. This deputy is just furious that the new hires have the audacity to hit their seniors, leaving poor Luo Pingxi stammering. He then turns and smacks Zhao Cheng, sarcastically congratulating him on the great job his team has done. Meanwhile, the goon Zio Man just flattened is already on his knees, apologizing for getting his butt kicked so thoroughly. Another one of the deputy's thugs powers up, activating a headshot strike and threatening to teach them a lesson. This guy unleashes a massive energy blast, aiming to make an example out of the newcomers. But when the smoke clears, Zhao Cheng is standing there completely unharmed, having tanked the hit without even flinching. A stunned Luo Pingxi can only stare, finally realizing just who he brought to this settlement. Our boy steps forward, telling the deputy this was their decision, and if he's got a problem, he can deal with him directly. His face literally cracking with rage, the deputy realizes his new underlings might be a little hard to manage, you think. So he just goes full monster mode, activating his giant lizard power and transforming into a huge beast. Without even looking back, Zhao Cheng tells Luo to leave, promising that whatever happens next is on him, not their guide. This newly transformed lizard man looms menacingly, but Zhao Cheng looks about as intimidated as if he were facing a grumpy gecko. And you just know this is one of those moments that defines a legend, a lone fighter against a monstrous system. Zhao Cheng's only thought is how slow the transformation was, and how it barely made the guy any stronger. What a letdown. This monster throws a wild punch, screaming about taking responsibility, while Zhao Cheng just casually sidesteps the telegraphed attack. This other workers are in total despair, realizing this monster is level 17 with level 19 strength and it is all their fault he is fighting it. With a fight raging, Zio Man gives a little shhh, telling everyone to just watch the show. Liu Zia explains he gets it, their leader will ask for help if he actually needs it. He then gives a cheeky wink, assuring them Zhao Cheng is just messing around with the lizard guy. Luo Pingxi is practically having a meltdown, insisting they should have just taken the beating to avoid trouble. Zio Man calls out his cowardly logic but also admits that picking a fight this big is a huge risk. But Liu Zia just smirks, casually asking if they really think his crew rolled in here without any backup. This triggers a massive lightbulb moment for Luo Pingxi, who suddenly remembers something important. He recalls seeing the Guan family's entire military convoy right where he picked them up, and his brain connects the dots, concluding they must be backed by one of the 5 great families. Suddenly, Luo Pingxi sees a golden opportunity, realizing he might just ride their coattails to the top. Meanwhile, Zio Man asks if they really have backing, and Liu Zia whispers that Zhao Cheng is the future son-in-law, a totally believable lie. Back in the fight, the deputy taunts Zhao Cheng for dodging, but our boy just looks bored. This lizard man roars for a real man's fight, demanding he face him head-on. So Zhao Cheng obliges, activating his own headshot strike attribute with a grin. This deputy absolutely loses his mind, furious that this kid has the same power as him and vowing to kill him. A massive beam of energy erupts from Zhao Cheng's fist, tearing up the entire landscape. It slams directly into the monster form deputy who had zero time to even process what was happening. This shockwave sends debris flying everywhere as the other squad members can only watch in horror. When the dust settles, the deputy is just a bloody mess in a crater, completely taken out. One of the remaining goons points in fury, screaming for someone to report this insane rookie to the squad leader. With the bosses distracted, the workers see their chance and make a desperate run for it. This woman he just saved gives Zhao Cheng a quick thank you before disappearing into the crowd. This whole thing reminds him of a bracelet his own sister once gave him, and he thinks about how she'd be about the same age now if she were still around. Meanwhile, the deputy is a coughing, bloody mess, barely being held up by his last remaining goon. His final order before passing out is, of course, a demand for his men to kill Zhao Cheng. His goons are having none of it, pointing out that even their boss got absolutely flattened. They are pretty sure charging in would just get them turned into fine paste, a solid assessment. From the ground, the deputy just screams at them for being cowards, which is rich. He then tries threatening Zhao Cheng with company retaliation, but his men are already backing away. Our boy just stands there, completely unfazed, letting the goons have their little panic attack. His attention then turns to the glowing portal, realizing this is the infamous blue crystal mine, and now he's got a new question on his mind. What exactly are these crystals? A long line of workers snakes its way from the portal to a nearby processing building. Curious, he stops one of the workers, who offers to just show him what is in his basket. Inside are beautiful glowing blue crystals that emit a strange chill, making him wonder if they are for weapons. This worker freaks out, yelling that they will melt in the sun and begging him to cover them back up. So they are useless for weapons, which makes Zhao Cheng even more suspicious about their true purpose. Seeing this, the still conscious deputy decides to use this curiosity to get Zhao Cheng killed, peak management material. He taunts him, saying if he is so curious, he should just go into the dungeon and see for himself. This deputy tries one last gambit, daring Zhao Cheng to go into the dungeon if he is so curious. With a cold look, Zhao Cheng agrees to take a look, but he has got one little condition. This beaten-down deputy smirks, thinking his plan worked and vowing to make sure the kid dies in there. But the condition is that the deputy is coming with him, much to his screaming dismay. Zhao Cheng just drags him toward the portal, figuring a guy this scummy makes for a perfect meat shield. As they disappear inside, the remaining goons decide to follow them into the dungeon. They are worried about the young master inside, but figure the squad leader will put this rookie in his place soon enough. Luo Pingxi, now a full-blown opportunist, smugly asks if they have any idea who they just messed with. One of the goons scoffs, calling them nobodies from the border and telling Luo to stop being dramatic. So Luo dramatically reveals they are from the Guan family, one of the 5 great families, and the goons absolutely lose it. He just gives them a cool little smirk, telling them they will find out the truth soon enough. These goons are now sweating bullets, realizing that if he is right, not even the squad leader can save them. Meanwhile, inside the dungeon, they have entered a vast icy wasteland, with the deputy still complaining about being dragged along. This crew is stunned by the massive ice mountains, realizing the blue crystals are literally mined from ice. Zio Man points out that all the workers hauling the crystals are awakened too, just very low level. Zhao Cheng is disgusted, finding it incredibly wasteful to use awakened people as simple manual laborers. Seeing them distracted, the deputy spots his chance to escape and run to his precious young master for help. He makes a break for it, sprinting across the snow and screaming for Sima Yan to save him. Zio Man points out that their guide just bolted, but Zhao Cheng does not care, saying they are here to find someone anyway. This new mission statement leaves Zio Man completely confused, asking who exactly they are looking for. Zhao Cheng declares his new mission: find the people at the top and see exactly why they are exploiting everyone. Liu Zhe explains to Zio Man that they are from the bottom too, so Zhao Cheng sees his past self in these workers. Their conversation is cut short by the deputy's pathetic screams for his young master to save him from a nearby tent. A new guy with some serious "I am the boss" energy steps out, recognizing the deputy by name. Inside, this young master is just chilling on a giant fur rug with two ladies, clearly working very hard. This deputy immediately starts tattling, pointing at Zhao Cheng and calling him the rebel who started all the trouble.